Is it Tasty Tuesday? I think it is. Thank goodness. Hopefully, we won't have the same audio issues we had last time while I came on, but he is coming, and we're going to take a look at some Balblair tonight. It's going to be really a lot of fun, and also might have Stephen Connor might stop by with us at the same time and talk about a special dram that Stephen first got me into that I had to get a bottle myself. The 83 31 year. Beautiful first release bottle. It's insane. Good to see you there, Silver Lake and Paul. It is a happy, tasty Tuesday, and yeah, this first one we'll be getting into is going to be a fun one. If you're not familiar, Balblair is a Highland distillery. It's a little fruitier than a typical Highland, I would say. So I mean, it tastes to me like a Space Side, but it's a great Highland distillery. Um, I've had a lot of their older bottles. They used to have vintage labels back. I guess if you go back to see Inverhouse bottom in '96, which is also known as Thai Bev. If you've heard of Inverhouse, Thai Bev, same type of thing. 2007 was when they started doing the distillery releases like this with the years on them. In 2019, recently, a couple of years ago, I guess by now, they decided to go with a new, like, typical 12, 15, 18, and 25. I'm surprised they don't have a 21 or 20, kind of in between release there. They go straight from the 18 to the 25, but it's going to be interesting. Looks like Silverlock has heard about them, but has never had any yet. Wow, man, you're in for a big treat. Balblair is definitely one to look out for, especially if you can find these older vintage bottles. You see '05, '03, '99, 90. Those are all great releases. '83 especially, and you can still find this. By the way, for not crazy money, really under $400 for a 31-year-old Balblair is actually pretty damn reasonable, and they're still out there to find. I, Petite Sellers has still got some. I know at this point right now for like 400, I think they are. So they're. I'm a total Balblair fanboy here as well. I haven't had any of their new stuff. Hopefully, you guys have had some and can tell me some, about that. I'm looking forward to. Taking a look at what you guys think about the new stuff because I have not tried any of it. Now 12, 18, 15, 25, none of it. So I'm kind of curious, but yet kind of I've heard mixed reviews, so it's going to be interesting to see what you guys think. Good to see their Loch Ness as well, man. Always good to see you. Dex and Armpits, yes, that's the parents and what is it? Parents and teachers, I think. With the whole back and forth on the Crystal Still album. One of my personal favorites, my favorite stuff on there is the Fountain of Lamneth, though. The 12-string guitar and the, just it's just one of the most perfect written songs, I have to say. That's actually that's part of that same song, I believe. Yeah. That's after the first part. I think it's part two. Anyway, we can go on and on about that. That's another show I'll probably put together on the side. We were talking about chess in the last show. It's going to get kind of crazy. Looking forward to this. Balblair 90 was one of the best scotches I've gotten to try. Isn't that crazy that 90, how good it was? Second release too was just awesome. Good to see you there, Chris. Don't want to buy their new range. Old vintage bottles are hard to find. Yeah, sometimes yes, sometimes no. And good to see you there, on Cantina. Aloha, I should say. Never had a Balblair either, but I do miss those colorful boxes on the shelf. Which, yeah, it's I'm surprised that you guys have never tried it or have gotten a chance to. I guess unless you do find a specialty store, they're really hard to find just sitting in there. And 99 is very sweet. I had the second release of that and loved it. Uh, Absolutely beautiful. Long gone in Canada, yeah. You can still get them in the States if you have any way. I'm not sure if any province, I think Alberta lets you order. I can't remember. I know the Ontario and Quebec are pretty locked down. I can't remember about Manitoba and some of the other ones, but I know some of them are a little more open on. I'm not sure about shipping though. Canada might be tough to get into, no matter how you look at it. Anybody know about older bottlings of Lefroy quarter cask strength? Ooh, 90 something. When Eric gets here, I would try him. He actually has an old bottle of quarter cask, I'm pretty sure. So if I don't ask him, I'll try to remember. But if I forget, please ask him when you see him about the that question there. Whiskey Ace 96 quarter cask. Good to see you here, Gary. Between the high prices and mixed reviews, I've been put off on trying any of the new Balblair stuff. Wow, man. Good to see you there, Dustin. Transcontinental Rumline 7. Oh, that's a whole nother thing. Pouring an 83 from Philadelphia and Phil and Depa. It's probably I'm taking that's probably some either like a specialty single cask. That's one thing I have been looking up, that this one itself is outstanding, but they do have, and Stephen Connor might actually show up with one later. I'm not sure if he's got one or not, but they have single cask versions of these. To me, that's just like, it's already good. That's almost like waving it in our face that it's even better than we've already started. I can't imagine how good a single cask of that's going to be, and I can't imagine how good it's going to be to see Mr. Muser.
Hey, Telex the whiskey tech.
Hey man, let me get my speaker situation fixed real fast. I have you going through the wrong thing. It's not your fault. It's my fault in this time. I'm pretty sure.
Wow. Good.
Okay, let's see if this works. Hopefully, maybe. Let's see.
You let me know if you have any issues. You let me know.
Well, I just.
How are we doing? Sounds good. Telex?
Yeah, it's just one second.
Yeah.
Can you turn me down like this?
You're a little bit on delay. Okay. Hang on.
Okay. Test 1, 2.
Yeah.
I don't know why it got messed up when it might have been my fault when I hit the audio on the on picking the I don't think so though. It's weird. All right, let's try this. Test. Okay, can you hear me still?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
It's perfect now. I don't know what happens with that. We had some weird audio stuff last time, but thankfully I don't hear any echo and everything's back to normal. Thank God. It's been a hell of a week, man.
Yeah, man. Sorry about that, dude. I thought maybe, I don't know.
I think it was my fault when you came in. I think I might have hit the wrong mic first. You know how you have a mic on your camera and you have a mic on the actual computer itself, and you've got like 3 different mics. It makes it an absolute nightmare to try to keep up with all that stuff. But
all good, man. How are you?
I am finally good. It's been a hell of a week already at work. It's only been 2 days, but I'm very excited to finally get down some Tasty Tuesday back, doing a good show with you and looking at some Balblair. Got the that 2005 13-year single cask. That's going to be really nice. I've never had I've had the regular like 2005 release, and I had the 99 and the 90, but I never had a single cask. And
this one will be this is a different world than that. I know exactly what you're talking about. That 2005. It's not a bad one, but yeah, this is much better, I would say. Now, do we want to start with the single cask or do we want to start with the 83?
I would say, man, it's a tough one. I don't think we're going to get blown out because they're not peated and they're not really like heavily sherried. I mean, I don't think this first one's not sherried either, right?
No, I think it's all ex-bourbon. Let me just double check.
The 83 is definitely straightforward ex-bourbon, so. And this seems like if there wasn't any sherry involved, it doesn't seem very like no.
I think this is all ex-bourbon.
Yeah, we can start with the single cask and then do the 83 later, because you never know. Stephen might join us later and say hi when.
That'll be awesome.
Do the 83.
Before we dive, so I'm going to pour this now and let it breathe a little bit. But before we get into that, Telex, have you you found yourself any new whiskey of late?
Same here. I'm going to go ahead and pour a little bit of this older one. 'Cause this is we're going to be blessed to try a 31-year whiskey, which is crazy.
A 13 and a 31, man. This is going to be interesting.
So I'm going to pour the 31 also just on the side.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same because it's a 31. So.
But yeah, I've been lucky enough to pick up a couple things. Nothing crazy, but a Glen Elgin 18, which I've been having my eye on for quite a while. Picked one up and then picked up there was another. I had my eye on a Tanninic, but had to wait. Oh, the new Ardnam Merkin. It's a 80. I think I have it over here somewhere. It's the 32102 bottle, which is a new distillery that's from Adelphi. It's a peated offering, I believe. And then finally, there was one more. I'm trying to remember what that other one was. Oh, the Blair Athol 23. I was lucky enough to pick up the Blair Athol on the side because I always liked their 12-year the regular Flora and Fauna bottle back there, but I never had an older one. I thought it'd be nice to try it. So I definitely, if you got to be into like lots of walnuts and hazelnuts and things like that. But if you're into a really nutty whiskey, pralines and cream type of thing, I think you'd really like it. So
excellent. I got a couple new things, Telex, that I think you'd really appreciate. One is this bad boy. Oh man, don't ask me how it happened, but finally it did. Ben Riach Solstice 17, the heavily peated Portwood.
Oh, that sounds nice, man. That's
this is one that I've been looking for a long, long time, and so I'm very excited to have got my hands on this. I also got my hands on a signatory vintage bottling of a Bunnahabhain Stoisha, which is it's a 6-year-old version of the Stoisha, heavily peated, picked by Jack Rose.
Wow!
So that's gonna be something special.
Big time.
Get a sample of that. That's gonna be a really special pour.
That's crazy, man. That sounds pretty
awesome. Well, it looks like Stephen Connor is behind us, in the waiting room. By the way,
yes, he just popped in a second ago. Let me go ahead and say hi to you, Stephen. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's up?
What's up, brother?
What's up, Eric and Jason? How you guys doing?
Good,
pretty
man.
Good. How about you?
Yeah, good. Busy, but it's good. It's good to have a dram at the end of the day.
Hell yeah, it's like I said, man. 2 days and it already feels like it should be Friday tomorrow.
Yeah, I wish it was.
Yeah. Tuesdays suck, man. Let's just be real. Tuesday's the worst day of the week. This is a good time to drink.
That's right. That's right. What's you talking about new bottles, or what you guys saw the?
Yeah, we were just chatting about that, and then we were going to we're getting into these two Balblairs.
Yeah.
Now, Stephen, do you have the 83?
I do. I have a few of those. Yeah, those are great. I even have.
Maybe we should start with that one, Telex, so Stephen can we can start things off with a bang here and drink that with him.
Okay.
But I don't know, unless Stephen, if you have any single cask. So the other one that we're going to do here is a single cask. This is a 13-year-old. This is actually picked by a liquor store by Prav Sarif. He runs a liquor store.
Oh, I know Prav.
Yeah, you know Prav? Okay, well then
I've met him.
He's got that shop in DC, DuPont Liquors, or DuPont Wine Spirits, or Circle One, whatever. It's right over there on DuPont Circle.
Yeah. I know it mostly from
Facebook.
Well, Facebook, but also here locally. He comes to Nashville. We got a lot of bourbon friends here. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, this is a that he did exclusively, and it is these old Balblairs. And for folks who don't know, this is what Balblairs used to look like. They used to do nothing but vintage statements. They're all non-chill filtered natural color, at least 46%. Nowadays, they have significantly changed their approach to just your standard 12, 15, 18-year whiskeys. Lost a little bit of the panache. They don't come in these fluorescent-looking boxes anymore. Telex, you have the 83 box. Yeah. I mean, they were all like really cool presentations. I mean, they just were awesome. And you know, they've went a different route, and I think I don't think I'm speaking out of turn when all three of us could probably say we lament that.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I wish they would have the vintage statement and maybe in like put the number of the age like maybe down the corners so it's easy to see. Oh, it's 31 years, that type of thing. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely was very happy with the quality of the vintage whiskey that they were putting out, and it went from the 05 all the way up to the 83. That was all great.
Yeah, this one is. I'm going to let it sit for a little bit.
Yeah. Do you have a single cask Balblair by chance at all?
I do. I've got an 83 single.
Oh gosh. Well, never mind. Don't break that out.
Yeah, it's 51.5, and
save that for a day that never comes.
Yeah, well, I'm saving this for my good friend John, who is the mead mule. I know he's a big Balblair fan too, and he loves the 83, and we're gonna open that up someday, maybe for his birthday or something. So
that'd be awesome. Yeah, I was telling the guys when I first started that this 83 that we're doing tonight is good enough, and I did find out that they had like single cask versions of this exact like even the same look and everything. It was just like a single cask version of it, like a higher ABV, and I thought, man, I couldn't imagine this being any better. Yeah, I mean that's exactly what I was looking for. 51.5. That's got to be like the creme de la creme, man.
Yeah, it's supposed to be good. Well, I mean, Balblair. Like I said, I wish. Yeah, they've definitely come down a few notches since a few years ago. They're just not.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. They had something. I mean, the pressures of the market are what they are, but they had something really special with these bottles.
They did, and like, I mean, even like this one, which is a sherried one, the 90. I mean, this was I think I got this for like $140 or something.
Yeah, me too. I got two of those. I have two of them right behind.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a good deal. I mean, it was incredible deals for the quality.
Yeah. I love those, man. I wish I would kill for one of those 90s right now.
Yeah, it's really sad what they've done. So,
yeah,
I understand. It's the sign of the times.
Well, and you hope that the other liquor stores under their I think it's Edgerton Group, right? Or Tybev, yeah, who own Balblair and Old Paltney, and Old Paltney's went through their thing too. But the next one on the chopping block, unfortunately, could be our beloved Anach, with its very reasonably priced and delicious 24 and 18-year-old whiskeys. I would really hate for that to happen, but
same with Speyburn too, man. They own Speyburn.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like I'm surprised. Yeah, once you have something that works, unless you just run out of juice, and it is what it is. That's the only thing I could think of why they would not be doing the same.
I think it's because they want to sell whiskey and people want to buy the ones with the numbers on it and not this confusing vintage age statement that I don't know, who knows. At the end of the day, I'm sure their marketers have a better had a clear understanding of it, but it's us that suffer. Before we get into this Balblair, I want to give a quick shout out. So our good friend Whiskey Knows, who's in the house, he's got his birthday coming up, and tomorrow night on his channel, he's going to have the master blender and CEO of the infamous Smoke Wagon coming on his channel to talk about that. So I would highly encourage folks, if you haven't yet, to go give a sub to Whiskey Knows. That's KNOWS. And be sure to tune into that tomorrow night. That should be a really cool show. And if you've been interested or following the saga of Smoke Wagon bourbon in the secondary market stuff or otherwise, this is going to be a really cool show to check out. So do keep an eye on that, you guys. So which one are we going to go with first here, Telex? What are you thinking?
Oh, I guess we'll pull out something else, Stephen, that you like to sip with us, and we'll do this single cask first, and then we'll do the 83. Let it sit out.
Yeah, I think I've had that single cask before. I think John Mead Mule has that, and he can confirm. But I think he's opened that before, maybe at his house, and we've had that before. So I have had it. So
excellent. I will. I'll set the table here, Telex. So.
Yeah.
Again, this is the old Balblair labeling, as you can see here. This one was vintage statement is 2005. It was bottled in 2018, so this is 13 years old. Non-chill natural color, 13 and 49.7% ABV. And this was a Prav Sharif pick. Prav Sharif owns a liquor store in DC and had the good fortune of getting the opportunity to pick a cask from Balblair a couple years ago, and I had the good fortune of this was a gift to me.
Nice.
Nice.
Talks a little bit about the cask here. It was, like I said, 49.7%. I believe this is a completely first fill bourbon cask. And again, these Balblair bottlings, I mean, I'm sorry, they're just goddamn beautiful. They just look great.
They really are.
They got the nice little like flower embossed in the bottom here. They just look classy. It's a damn shame what's happened, but we're not going to harp on that. What we're going to do instead is talk about the juice here. So Telex, just one more time, 49.7%. This is a single cask, all bourbon, non-chill natural color, and 13 years old.
Yeah, the only other thing I could find out about this one, which makes it special, it's only got 216 of this particular type that exists. There's only 216 run of it. That's pretty cool. Yeah, and this is bottle number 92 of 216. Cask was 212, and Prav. For folks, I would mention, I should really look up the name of his store. I think it's DuPont One Liquor, Wine and Spirits. He's one of the best. The guy does a lot of raffles of barrel picks, and money goes to charity. Like, he does stuff the right way. He's a really just straight up great guy, and I'm just delighted that he broke out of. He does a lot of bourbon in particular, but happened to do a Balblair here, and here we go. I wonder if that was the same guy that I was down in DC, and I can't remember what the name of the place was, but they had a lot of different good whiskey. I'm like, what do you have that you would recommend? He's like, how about a Baltic and Oloroso No. 4 Sherry Mature? I'm like, that sounds great to me. It's peated. It might have been him, actually. That's funny.
So just to let everybody know, and they do ship to some places. His liquor store is 1 West DuPont Circle Wines and Liquors. I'll drop the link in the chat just for folks who are interested. But he's got a great shop, and definitely recommend giving a call in there and looking at what he's got. So it's good stuff.
All right, I guess let's get into the juice of this one.
I'm going to drink a little, just something light. Delilah's blended scotch from the Compass Box. So
cool. Okay.
The first one, just something light.
I've never seen that one. Is that a special from just Delilah's?
Yeah, it's for Delilah's. It was done. This is the limited edition the 25-year anniversary one, I believe.
Yeah.
American oak and sherry cask. It's light, 46%. A blended scotch. So
cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to get a try that sometime, maybe, if I ever get a chance to see it. Ooh, okay. This is hitting nice, man. This has got a lot of, apple and wood were like the first two notes that hit me right off the bat.
Oh, yeah.
What you expect from a good, ex-bourbon cask, no matter what the other bits and pieces are. Wow. It's funny. It's got this, like, combination of a lot of florals with the whiskey. I'm getting lots of different, like, nice floral notes, really.
Yeah, and florals. The floral aspect of Balblair is something I've tended to notice on quite a few of their stuff. The 90 not as much, but I have a Gordon MacPhail 21-year-old Balblair, which florals for days, man.
And the weird thing is, like, when I was talking about these guys initially, I was mentioning the fact that, like, taste-wise, to me, they're so fruity and sweet that I would think of them as a space side more so. But you're right. When you think about Balblair and you think of the nose, especially, they are really sometimes intense. Like this one, especially on the floral side. Wow. It's like some really nice woody, and it ranges from like light, brisk, fresh cut wood, and it also gets deeper into some more spicy oak type wood. Yeah,
and that's exactly what I was waiting to hear from you. I was going to add, just to build on what you're saying, Telex, there's a unmistakable cinnamon, like red hot cinnamon candy note to this for me, but also sandalwood. like
Yeah,
Minnesota, like
exactly.
like with a little hint of coconut kind of thing. Like this is a much more oak driven Balblair than any that I've encountered before.
Do you remember those pecan sandies that you could get? They're little cookies, and they're called pecan sandies.
Yeah.
They smell just like this, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's got this like I don't want to say herbal because it's not like an earthy herbal. It's like a real light, like a mint herbal. It's got this like
I see what you're saying on the mint for sure. It's got that cooling sharpness.
yeah.
To it.
Wow, man, this is nothing like I thought it. I mean, I've had lots of Balblairs and smelled lots of different ones. This is my first single cast, but man, it's so the profile's so different, surprisingly, but not in a bad way. It's just a surprisingly different way.
Yeah, and that was my first. I mean, I over the time put a little bit of a dent in this, but it's been a while, and yeah, it is unlike any Balblairs that I've had.
I think he's having some connection issues there. Let's see if it comes back. Hopefully your signal comes back. There we go. Okay, there we go. It dropped out for a second. You're back. Go ahead. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying this is a much more oak driven, cask driven. Like I shouldn't say cask driven. Let me take that. It's a much more wood spice driven, and I do think this comes from the single cask than anything else.
That is such a. There's a lot going on, and it's none of the notes that I was thinking.
Nutmeg.
I'm finally getting some fruit. I was surprised that there was so much spice and other notes going on, and then I'm at the end. I'm finally getting like the oranges and mango kind of.
Yeah.
It's more, I guess, mango-y than citrus.
Pardon me, I have a psychotic cat who's got the zooms right now. All right, well, let's dive in.
Yeah, let's have a sippy.
Yeah, man. Plunge. Happy
Tasting Tuesday, everybody. Ooh, wow. That is it's so different, but it's good. But it's so different than the other Balblairs I've had. It's interesting.
What a whiskey!
Now the fruit, I got a really nice coating of. I mean, lots of different fruit too, and it ranges from like your fruit cocktail, like good quality, grapes and cherries and pears and things like that. But it also it's got like a good sweetness to it too. That's balanced it out with that spice.
Man, that spice, the unmistakable spice. Stephen, on any of the younger single casks of Balblair that you've had, do you recall noticing like a more like oak-driven wood spice in any of them? I only ask because I've never had any other single cask than this, and I'm curious if this is just Prav's specific taste or if like this is something that
it could be. It could be because I mean he's a bourbon guy, right? So maybe he likes that, and he thinks that's going to appeal. Because what they pick for, they're picking for mass to sell it, right? So whatever his clientele he thinks is going to like, that's what he's trying to pick. And he's a very good, he picks a lot of good bourbons, and he probably gravitates a little bit toward the oak, I would think. So
yeah,
it's got a hell of a nice mouth coat. It's like it's on the heavier side. And it's very oily. It's not waxy, but it's like a good oily mouth coat. That is so different than. I mean, I've never had a spicy Balblair before that I can think of. That's that spicy,
Yeah, no, not at all.
In a good way. It's like it's funny. There's a bite to the wood. It's got some like almost like a ginger snap feel almost to it, but there's so much sweetness and other creamy like factors going on that it really is well balanced. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's different. It's definitely different.
What do you think about that Delilah that you're sipping, Stephen? Give us a couple notes on that if you don't mind when you got a second.
Well, it's a nice mix of sherry and bourbon cask. It's good. I mean, it's well done, and it's nice and it's a good warm up for the Balblair. I didn't want to go with anything too heavy, too powerful for the Balblair. So because I really wanted to pick the notes out on it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but it's quality. I've had it for a while, and I don't always go to it, so it's nice to drink it.
Yeah, the finish is pretty long. It's a little dry, but it's not. The dryness is probably coming from all the spice that's going on.
Yeah, agreed. It's not tannic.
No, thankfully not. There's no nothing bitter, no minerality going on. It's a straightforward, nice, dry, spicy, fruity, sweet, well balanced, but dry type of as well.
So did you know that Balblair is supposedly, at least in production, the fourth oldest distillery in Scotland?
Oh wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, they're
I've got the trusty old pulled up the Balblair. So
yeah, they're like what 1790 or something. Like they're like pre 1800s. I knew that, but
yeah, no. It points. There are some facts pointing to 1749 as a possible start for the distillery.
Wow.
Only Glenturret and Bowmore, and I think there's one other one that's older, but that's yeah.
Yeah, some of these guys were running illicit stills back in the day too, right?
Yeah,
probably right.
Yeah,
that's one thing that's interesting. Glenlivet even released an illicit still release. I just had a 12-year recently. It's pretty damn good, actually. It's like a higher proof version of the 12, and it's like a cast strength version and non-chill filtered, no coloring, and it's pretty damn good if you get a chance to try it.
Yeah. Telex, curious if you're picking up a grape note in this at all.
Oh yeah, like the white grape to about the white to about green grape area. I was getting a lot of different types of grapes in between there.
Yeah.
I'm selling the 83. Honestly, that's what I'm doing over here. It's such a good nose on it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I did a couple of drops of water to see what we would get on the nose coming back, and ironically,
yeah, I'm gonna put a little water on now too.
I get some really nice combinations of. Now I'm getting more of a fruit combined with a lot of caramel and the butterscotch and more of the thick, like the thicker sugary type of thing going on. That's really weird because usually you would get more of like spice kick, or it's definitely changed. I do like the nose just as well. It's just so different than the initial one. Huh. Are you getting like a fruit combined with like a toffee molasses caramel kind of thing?
Yeah, I'm about to dive in. I just put the water on. Give me just a hot second here. Jesus, cat. I hope that's not too loud.
No.
Fucking fired up. I'm getting more of a caramel apple thing, like the apple note, yeah. And honestly, again, that it's not Mizunara, but sandalwood. That it's not quite there, but you know what I'm saying? Gingerbread, not ginger like a pickled, like gingerbread, like a warm gingerbread. You know that smell?
Thick, yeah, almost like a rye bread.
Yeah,
it's got some nice bready notes in there too.
Okay. Really does. All right, let's do another taste.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's almost like a cast strength spice tree from Compass Box. I know you're drinking the Delilah, but like I don't know how much you like the spice tree or not, but like not the extravaganza, but the regular spice tree. Like imagine jacking it up to cast strength. So much of what you're getting in here has real flavor, man. Just like that nutmeg kind of gingerbread, the caramel,
sandalwood cookies. Oh man,
yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of this. I think I love the spice tree from Compass Box, and it's such a nice dessert gram. This is a bit more on the aggressive side, but I think
it's so damn good.
The cast strength version of it, man, really, really, really good.
Oh, this is awesome because it's the perfect ABV where I can pour. I just had 2 different drams, one neat, one with water, and I still have enough, as you can see, to do it. Another 1 or 2 drams. So it's like it's the perfect whiskey to play around with, and I like the way I'm getting it neat and with the water. I might only get one more out of this actually, but this is surprisingly good and nothing like I thought it would be. That's what's great about whiskey sometimes. Thankfully, that happens a lot in good ways and not as much bad ways. I've had some humdingers though in the past where it's kind of like, oh man, I think it's going to be a certain way, and it's like, oh, it's not quite what I expected. Stephen, in your whiskey collecting history, has there ever been a bottle stand out where you're like, you thought at first it was going to be this great thing, and then you got it, and you're kind of like, huh, it's not quite living up to par at all. It's actually the opposite.
Yeah, I have, and it's the worst feeling, especially when you pay a lot of money for a bottle.
Do you mind saying which if one sticks
Well,
out
I
in
think
particular?
I've mentioned it before. Last year it was the Lefroy 30-year-old Ian Hunter Book 2.
Yeah,
The first still sherry one, just not very well done in my opinion.
wow.
For what it cost, and very disappointed. It was my biggest disappointment of 2020. This year, I haven't. Let me try to think. This year, I have been blessed to open good bottles, so I've not. I've been trying to honestly drink my open bottles, so I've not had a lot of. The Aaron 25, and I've talked to Dustin about this, but I was pretty disappointed in the Aaron 25.
Yeah, I was surprised about that because I know Dustin was a bit. I mean, he wasn't like a huge fanboy, but he was.
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
kind
he
of
liked it more than I did. I just, I was definitely disappointed in it. I expected for what Aaron's been doing and what I expected them to do on their oldest,
Yeah.
25. I just expected more out of it, and
Wow.
so
I've kind of torn because Dustin is just as picky as you are usually, and to get him on board, it takes a lot.
yeah.
If you're not on board still, I'm kind of like, oh, this is a battle.
No, I mean, to try a sample is probably the best way. Then you can figure out, instead of buying a bottle, try to get a sample, pour of it anywhere.
I'll have to beg the people somewhere at the best bar I could find because finding Aaron 25 anywhere is probably going to be very rare.
I don't think they had it in the U.S. yet. I mean, Dustin might be able to correct me if I'm wrong, but
okay.
I don't think it came here yet. There might be some, but not yet.
What about you, Malt? What about you, Malt? Have you had any bottles this year or last year where you had big hypes, but it just underdelivered to the point where you're kind of like, wow, that's not.
Let me think on that. Oh yes, Deanston 28 Muscat. That I felt. Dram Dude and I did a little live stream because we both got a bottle. It's like a $500 bottle in the U.S. Luckily, I got it overseas. And
dang,
dude, and I have it down, I don't know, halfway, maybe a little bit higher than that. And it's just not got any more complex. It's just overly sweet. It's good. It's a good whiskey, but not worth the price. And what you expect out of a 28-year-old, it belies that for sure in terms of its sad simplicity. Yeah, that was a bummer. That was one of the bigger disappointments.
I thankfully I've been lucky. The only one that I guess the Glen Elgin 18, I'm kind of not sure if how I feel about it yet. I'm still kind of like, I had to one dram with it just to kind of get a feel of it, and I'm kind of not sure about that one. I did like the Blair Athol pretty much, but I'm trying to think of something that might have stand out this year. I am about to pull the trigger maybe on the Taninic 17. I know Dustin was not a fan at all of that one, so it's kind of making me wonder if I should even bother. But I don't have any older Taninic. I only have that 10-year-old, and it was kind of depressing on the even the Flora and Fauna.
I've got 2 more that I can mention off the top of my head that I'm thinking about, but one is a special bottle, and it's good. It just did not come across like I expected, but it was a Ben Rennis 26 or 28-year-old, the Bottlers. It's independent bottler. The Bottlers. It's a first fill sherry. It's a in this, and online it's well recognized as a very good bottling. And I had a sample, I believe, of it, and just wasn't super impressed. It was very spicy. It just was very big and overly sherry, heavy, big sherry monster. But it just, so I sold it. Thank God. I mean, I was able to sell it, and I got more money than I expected out of it. But
that didn't burn so much in the end, then.
no, I mean, I sold it. Definitely got my money back out of it. And then the other one was an Balblair 19 or 20-year-old single cask. I just expected, it was a release here in the States, and not too long ago. I think it was this year or late last year. Might have been late last year, but just really disappointed in it. I expected a lot more, big sherry bomb, but just one-dimensional kind of. It didn't, did not. Luckily I had a couple extras. I was able to get rid of those too. That some people who liked it more than I did, thank God. So.
Thank goodness. Yeah, Balblair is always a tough one for me. I've never, other than maybe an Adelphi independent type of Balblair and maybe the A'bunadh, like an old 53 to 65 batch.
Yeah.
Release.
A'bunadhs. I mean, the A'bunadhs. The thing about it is like it's just so damn good because it's cask strength and it's just like syrupy, delicious. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's complex. But it's so good at what it does in its like two-dimensional space that it's like it's just fucking good.
I haven't had the batches. I mean, I think 56 might have been, or 58 might have been the last one I had. Because once they start getting lighter in color, I'm like, okay, that's not really what I'm looking. That's not what I'm looking for when I want that type of pour.
They used to have cloves in the finish around the 53 area. You used to have this really nice clove cigarette finish to it. Yeah. And then once you get to the 60s, it started just dropping down for me too.
Yeah.
But it is what it is on that. But sometimes, you invest something in like a single cask in any distillery, you're thinking you're going to get at least somewhat of a home run. Like the Glenfarclas ones, I'm sure are like that too. When you've taken risks on certain single casks, right?
Yeah, no, and those are. I mean, I no longer try to take risks with those because it's always first fill sherry. I don't go with anything else with Glenfarclas Family Cat. Just first fill sherry. I learned my lesson on those two. So if they're in a tired cask, Glenfarclas that distillery doesn't do anything for it.
Let's just say it, man. I mean, look, I'm gonna just say it. Glenfarclas. Fuck Glenfarclas. Let's just put that. I want to like Glenfarclas because it's not family owned. It's got a great story and all that. And the first older Glenfarclas I got was the 25. It was the first older whiskey I ever bought in my single malt journey. And I remember being like, "That's it." Like it didn't do much for me, and that's because it sucks. And it's not even worth the $150, $180 it's printed on. And I'm going to tell you this. So I decided, it had been 4 years, because this is what happens. You have a bad experience with the malt, and maybe distilleries who are watching need to hear this. When you have a bad experience with the malt, you don't buy their stuff anymore. Like, you don't. I mean, you take some time away. And that's what I did. Until earlier this year, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago, I came across this. And this is a Whiskey Exchange exclusive. I mean, look at how beautiful it is. It's all Art Deco, all this. It's a cask strength 21-year-old Glenfarclas. And I'm thinking to myself, and it was on sale. It was like $190 or something like that. I'm thinking like, oh, well, this is going to be
no-brainer,
right? This is going to be the one. I can't afford a family cask, but like this is going to be like, come on. I mean, it's cask strength. This is what's missing from the...
Yeah.
No. It's just not. It's the sweet kind of cherry icy, those ices that you used to have, at the movie theater or like not a lot of complexity, not much depth.
Yeah.
And it's the 15-year-old, which is at 46%, is light years better than this.
Wow.
And I would go to the net. If I poured them blind for you, you would probably agree. Just another disappointment, and I'm just done. I'm just like, you know what?
Yeah.
this was going to be I thought, hell, if this is good, I'll buy 2 or 3 more. There was a 25 like this too for like $30 more. I was like, shit. It's just not, man. You think like, oh, they're doing a refill, it'll be subtle, but it's not. It's just boring. It has no depth or vitality or complexity that you expect from something of this age. And quite frankly, I just can't recommend it to anybody.
No, I had the same experience with a 21-year-old that Scotch Whisky Auctions did for their 10th anniversary.
Wow.
And got it, very exclusive little bottling, and only sold with the auction is only when they sold it. And it was so just boring, just not very good.
Wow.
And it was because it wasn't first fill sherry. It was like I don't know, third fill. I don't know what it was. It was just,
dude.
They use very tired casks sometimes too. So
I don't understand it because it's like, the direct fire, them and Glenfiddich are the only ones, and it's like going to give you a little bit of that extra caramelization, that elemental flavor, old school flavor. It doesn't even have that, man. It's pedestrian. It like, even to a newbie, I'll say this, I think a Dalmore 12 is probably more dynamic than a Glenfarclas.
Wow.
And
wow.
I'm just going to say it. I like, at least it's got something. At least it's got something to have an opinion about.
That's a very strong opinion, man.
Okay, maybe I'm going too far, but whatever. I'm probably not. You poured those 2 blind in front of me. I wouldn't be surprised if I chose the Dalmore. And I'm not saying I like the Dalmore. I don't.
I would like to do a blind. We need to send everybody. This would be a great blind to do for people. That we do whatever shitty whiskey we think is shitty, but maybe not. Maybe it might like. We might like. I mean, it might be good. We might have a different, from a blind perspective, have a different look. Outlook.
Blind don't lie.
Just do. This is, and these are supposed to be like a Dalmore 12. You're not paying. You're paying a decent amount for it. It's not like super cheap. Something that we're not talking about grocery. We're not talking about grocery store level. We're we're talking about something that like a Glenfarclas 25 or 21 or a Dalmore, whatever. Because I hate them all really. So I mean,
dude,
that would be a great blind to say what's the best of the worst.
Dude, let me just. I'm going to throw in one caveat just to build on what you said. One of the samples blind has to be has to be the Naked Grouse, because I bet, and I guarantee you. At least two of us picked the Naked Grouse over either of those.
I've never had it.
It's great. The Naked Grouse is
you guys would have it over me. I wouldn't be able to, I've got a couple that I'd be interested to share that I want to see what you guys would think on it. So
dude, I'm telling you, the Grouse, man. The Naked Grouse is an underrated whiskey. I think it's better than the Glenfarclas 12. It's better than the Dalmore 12. I'd be willing to say that I'd pick it out blind.
Wow, we might have to put something together for this, just to see what would happen.
I mean, especially for the people that chat, they would see what we're tasting and whether we'd be going, we're going, wow, this is surprisingly good, for the Dalmore 12.
Oh man, I don't know.
We'd lose all our credibility.
I think.
Wait, you assume that there was ever credibility.
That's true. What am I doing? Yeah.
Dude, it would only. The good thing about us
in the free kingdom, man. That's all it is.
The good thing about us, though, as soon as it touched our lips and we tasted it, we would recognize the 40% ABV. We would notice the thinness of the whiskey. We would notice the craft is not quite there. We would be able to spot the Dalmore a mile away.
We have a 12 in there for good measure too. I mean, if we're straight to the bottom of the barrel. I mean, I like a glass of rosé as well as anybody, so we might as well put that in.
Wow, man. He's going like Johnny Walker Red level and stuff.
Well,
yeah, let's not go there.
Anyways, but Telex, I don't know, man. What are you thinking here with this Balblair single cask?
Oh, this is beautiful, man. I have to say, the Balblair 2005 13-year single cask, 49.7%. I definitely
a price on something like this. Again, this was a special thing to get, but if you're running into them, you're looking in that $1.80 range.
And I think it's worth it. I'm surprised by how different the profile of a. I don't want to say Balblair always has a typical profile, but they tend to be more in the fruitier. Um, I'd say almost space side-esque range when it comes to the taste. Nose more of a Highland. This is like almost. It's not a spice bomb, but it's definitely a first fill bourbon. You can definitely tell by the wood. You could tell though that it's also well done because you have this range of wood from freshly cut, bright and effervescent, all the way down to like your more earthy, spicy, oaky sandalwood. It's got pecan sandies and it's such a weird profile with the menthol, and it's got some a lot of florals going on, ranging from like honeysuckle to I just have this feel full of wildflowers in my head when I'm thinking about the nose of this one. It does well both neat and with water. You don't have to have it either way. And it kind of has a nice circle profile to it. You've got your fruit, you get your caramel, butterscotch stuff from the bourbon cask. You've got all these spicy notes too. I mean, at the end of the day, it's definitely well above average. I think Prov did a great job on the pick. I don't know if it's the same guy that I know in DC. It sounds like him, and if it is, the guy knows how to pick whiskeys. I have to give him credit. It's at least a 4. I'm thinking 4.25, between a 4 and a 4.25 on this one. I think I'm gonna go 4.25 because it is well above average. The only thing that would make it really a better whiskey, and that's if I'm really being nitpicky because the craft is there, everything, is maybe some more age might make it a little more complex possibly, but it's already kind of complex as it is. So
Yeah.
What do you think, man?
I'm right there with you with the 4.25. I think this is well above average. I think for a 13-year-old malt, even at the $180 price point, whatever, maybe it's less, maybe it's more. It's hard to say with these single casks. I think under $200. I know it sounds crazy. It's only 13 years old, but age ain't everything. Casks are king, and I'm telling you, Balblair's using some mighty fine casks with these whiskeys. This is an expertly aged whiskey. It's got the right ABV. It's got the right integrity. Just delicious stuff. There are a lot of good whiskeys in that price range. But I'm telling you, the combination of complexity and just spirit-driven and cask-driven oak spice with this is just a really nice departure from what you would expect from an otherwise rather soft and kind of delicate, nuanced spirit, which is what my experience with most Balblair has been. I'm all about it. I'll sit at 4.25 comfortably on this.
Wow, man, you heard it here. If you ever get a chance to find this one, there's not very many bottles, but if you do find a Prov pick, it seems like you're not going to go wrong from what this and other ones that we've experienced have been like. So,
yeah, man,
I appreciate it. It's a hell of a way to start the evening. That's for damn sure.
I've got some bourbons that are fantastic. I have, but that's
he knows what he's doing. And plus, I mean, you're going to get this just crazy box, the old Balblair boxes, man.
Oh, that's quality right there.
Yeah, with the beautiful bottle. I mean, I'll give it an extra point just for that. I mean, the presentation was killer.
Look, it separated them, right? I don't understand because it did. Their boring ass shit they have now. It doesn't separate them. It's just like any other random distillery. It's just like whatever, right?
What he said.
And their bottles before were elegant and beautiful, easy to put on the shelf. They're squatty. I liked them. I just don't understand why they did what they did. But it's some bean counter, sitting up behind a desk, decided to, Joe Blow in Schmo likes this, and let's do this to sell more bottles. Whatever. I mean,
What he said.
I'll get on rant too.
I'm going to put that fire out a little bit, but yeah, what he said exactly.
I wonder if they still
gas on it, but you're absolutely right. It's a fucking tragedy, and like for people who enjoy good malts and have got to that point, like here's the thing that has stuck with me about it. Balblair was never a whiskey number one that was accessible enough that it would be a starter whiskey if I was sitting in the liquor store choosing between 5 whiskeys. So like it's almost a null and void fucking question because it's not like I was like, oh, what's this Balblair, right? Like I went to Balblair after I knew a little bit about something and I was like, oh,
yeah. I mean,
super.
it's not a small. I don't consider it a small malt at all. It's a pretty good, nice, and it's a Highland malt. I mean, it's got some character. It's not a simple, malt, and I don't feel like it is. I mean, it's not, it's not a Ben Nevis or a, Mortlock or something, but it's, it's got a lot of, got a lot of character.
One thing about them, though, I do like in the new profile is thank God they still do natural color and non-chill filtered on all their packaging.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
got to give them props at least for that. They're
That's
not pulling a Brown Foreman, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I mean, I'm getting frustrated because in the last year and a half, just things have started going downhill with a lot of my distilleries that I enjoy, and so I'm kind of irked in general. And this is
what are your what distilleries in particular, if you don't mind my asking?
I mean, you name it. I can't. There's I mean, a lot of the Islas, I'm just really irked on them. I mean, the Ardbeg has just pissed me off so many times. I mean, even Lagavulins pissed me off what they're putting out nowadays. Lefroy has been pissing me off for a while. I mean, my favorite distilleries. I mean, these are my, I say with love, but they, it's like it's like a kid. They just need a good, good spanking, I guess, or something. They put them in line.
Yeah.
Wow.
You wonder, like, you wonder. It's just the pressure. I don't know if it's market pressure or what.
It's just in general. It's happening throughout the whiskey industry, right? I mean, not enough. I guess last year it came back a little bit because of, at least over here, because of the tariffs and stuff, the demand. But they're still doing well, and they're catching back up, and they're just they're selling things. Look, I mean, Ardbeg can put out young ass whiskey and charge a lot for it, and it sells. So they're going to do it. So doesn't give them any reason not to.
Yeah.
100% agree.
Yeah. So I mean, some distilleries have done better. I mean, Aaron has done a great job. That's one. And Glendronach, I'm a big Glendronach fan, so that pisses me off what they're doing. The stocks just aren't there anymore like they used to be. They've been picked over.
What about Glenelg? Have you been taking a hard look at their new stuff,
Steve? I've tried some, but I'm not going to. I just haven't got into them as much. I don't think, for my palate, what I've had, I've just been kind of like, okay, that's fine, but nothing that that I just wanted to jump into and start.
Yeah, I just started the new Billy Walker stuff on the high end stuff was actually doing pretty well, but
he's doing great. I mean, because it's he's doing it right. I think from my what I'm enjoying from a sherry whiskey, it's fine. I haven't disliked any that I've had, but I haven't been wild to the and hope maybe I will. Hopefully I'd love to try more.
I mean, I think the real winner out of them, I mean, has been these 10 cask drinks. Like their 10 cask drinks are like, those are the ones that have made me turn my head.
Really?
Yeah, the regular 12, it's like fine. I had the 15, which is PX Oloroso, supposed to be right there with the Glendronach 15. I mean, it was like not quite there, but it was fine. I appreciate the line in the sand that they're drawing, and that they're going to go this route of like integrity bottling, so to speak. I really think the thing that shined for me out of their core range stuff and stuff you can really get, the 10 cask drinks, they just seem to be getting better and better. And hopefully, fingers crossed, they'll maintain their kind of under $100 price point. But Lord knows.
No, that's right. I mean, it's going up, but I mean, Glenelg, Aaron, is there other distilleries? I mean, Springbank always does a good job.
Before you go off to another distillery,
what
about the Glenelg 25? Have you had that one already?
I haven't.
We're going to do a show on that coming up soon, so I want to see what Eric thinks about the Glenelg 25 to see if it's how it compares to some of the older core range stuff and the 10 cask strength stuff that he's been taking care of too.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, man. Go ahead about the Springbank.
No. I mean, I'm just trying to think of other distilleries that are still doing it right, like really.
Yeah.
And there's the list is getting shorter and shorter, really.
Yeah.
Or distilleries that have turned it around and started doing it right again. That's, it's just becoming shorter and shorter. It just irks me.
Yeah.
So,
no, I agree.
that's why I am exclusively, honestly, I'm exclusively looking at older bottlings right now. I mean, I buy some newer here and there, but I'm really looking for older bottlings. That's kind of what I've been going towards.
I hear you, man.
Yeah.
Righteous.
Well, I guess let's prepare for the old next 83 deal here.
Let's do it.
So good.
I'm just gonna run and get some water real quick, and then
Sure.
I'll join you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a little bit of Iska myself here.
And I'm drinking it out. This is the perfect glass for this. It really concentrates the smells, the nose, and especially as being a 46er, this is great.
Is that a Copita nosing glass?
No, it's a blender's glass, 1920s blender's glass.
I've been looking at when I first got in my whiskey journey. I was looking at Glencairns, and that's what I kind of started gravitate towards because they were always efficient on nosing and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've tried a couple different glasses, like the Dragons are pretty cool for something different, but I've always had my eye on a Copita nosing glass. And I remember you mentioning something about the blenders, so I'm gonna have to take a look at that. They're not cheap though, that's for sure.
No, they're not. No, they're not. Donner and Silverlock says they mentioned two good ones. I think Tobermory, Leche, and then also Edderdower are good examples.
Edderdower, yeah.
Still doing it right. So
that's for damn sure. Thank God for Edgerdower, because when I was going through a lot of these older distillery versions of older whiskeys, the 21 thankfully was one that stood out to be a great sherried whiskey with just that wasn't crazy. I mean, it's of course expensive because it's 21-year cask strength level whiskey, but for what you're getting, it was a great price. So
yeah.
I mean, and I got to throw this one out there, and maybe it'll cause a little bit of a controversy, but man, Bunnahabhain.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Bunnahabhain seemed like their standard 12 alone is like, I think, a notch above average, and all of their stuff. I mean, they non-chill filter. They're above 40%. I have not been disappointed, with the exception of the non-age statement one they did. I don't remember. I haven't been disappointed with the Bunnahabhain in a long time. I found them all to be like quality. They haven't really thrown me for a loop. I mean, I think for the Isla whiskeys, especially, I know they're not all heavily peated, but I feel like they've maintained some of their integrity.
No, they have. My issue with Bunnahabhain lately is very young product at a high price they're putting out. Especially when I say that, I'm not talking about the core releases. Yeah. So I'm talking about the special releases they put out, which I look for, and they're just younger and very expensive. And to me, Bunnahabhain can be, it's a little hit and miss sometimes for me, but just especially there, it's just not as I've had some pretty big Bunnahabhains, that really nice ones, and that I loved, and then some of them are just somewhat not. I never super disappointed, oh, this is crap. I'm just right. I paid this for it. I wanted to see a little bit more out of it because So
the two that stood out for me as not being as great as I was hoping was the first release of the Choi Chick, didn't really do much for me, and the Kjalbanak, which it had a great initial nose and palate, but the finish just wasn't there for me. But I haven't tried any of their crazy single casks or anything like that.
I got to try. This is a couple of years ago when I went to Scotland. I got to go and try with their main. Go into a room, just my wife and me went into this room. And I got to try the 25, a 30, a 40-year-old, and the champagne one, which was released for the Shield that year. And what other one? But I was so hungover for the.
Oh man!
They're like, God damn it! Can I come back tomorrow?
Because I was at the Bowmore Hotel, the bar there, and drinking with the son of the owner all night long. And I went there the next morning and I could barely see straight. And they felt sorry for me. They were like trying to tell me all these great things about this whiskey. I'm like, oh my God, I just could barely drink it. I just took like a sip of that. You can take it with you. That's fine. And here,
Wow.
we're going to give you, here's a little, Warehouse 5 sample bottle. We're going to give it to you. You see,
Damn, man.
they felt like I was, they knew I was hurting. So,
oh, ouch.
Before we get into the
But I had to
Balblair,
try it. They were
I
all
want to
good.
ask
Those
you
were all
about
good.
one other distillery that, in particular, has like had my attention for a while now, and I've been kind of going through some of the range. What are your feelings on Ben Romick?
I've not had enough of it to kind of give a good, opinion on it. Honestly, I need to try more. So I need to try. I want to really see their great stuff and see how they're. What I've had has been fine.
Yeah,
I probably have more Ben React than I have Ben Romick, but I kind of put them in the same. Yeah. But I'd like to try more. Yeah.
I think you'll find the quality of Ben Romick to be better than Ben Reich, but that's just my opinion, I'll say.
Yeah.
But I do find the Ben Romick stuff, I mean, the peaty stuff, the not so peaty stuff, it's all pretty good, I'd say.
We did that sampling a way back when of the organic in the 15, and it was like, holy shit, this I mean, really just, it's like the difference between like a macro beer in the United States and a macro beer in Europe. You're just like, it's got some serious backbone to it. Like it has body, it's robust, it's got some flavor. They do the Earthen Warehouse stuff, all that. I'll be curious down the road if you try any. I have a healthy amount if you're ever interested in some samples. I got a single cask.
It's just that they sell it a little bit around here, for the cost, I'm just kind of like, putting it in other things. But I'd love to try it.
I know
hopefully I'll get to try when I travel more again. I'll be able to try hopefully in some bars and stuff. So
I know the first bottle you should get, Steven, no joke. Very little investment, very big reward is the Imperial Proof, also known as the 100 Proof. Ben Romick. That is the bottle to get, man.
Yeah, that Imperial Proof 10-year-old is killer. I'm going to be in France next month, so if there's any travel exclusives we want, we should. I'll probably grab something to go. There might be a couple out there that we should keep our eyes on, but I'm also going to, tool around some of the whiskey shops there, so we'll see what I find. You never know; you're going to find one of those rare bottles. But anyways, let's move on to the main event here, shall we?
Yes. Let me pull up a little bit on the old. This is a straightforward. And this is what I like about some of these vintage Balblairs. This one particularly is a straightforward ex-bourbon cask, no frills. But we're looking at 31-year whiskey. 31 years. It's just amazing. For $400, you can get it still today at Petite Cellars. No joke. For that price, it's like a no-brainer to me because I know that you can't find it easily anywhere.
If anyone is in your area, they need to go pick it up because that I will say that for that amount of money, the product they're getting is well worth. And that's you're talking about $200 for the 13-year-old, right? So I mean, you got this is and you can taste the age in this one.
Yeah, and just for shits and giggles, Telex, I brought out the 90, which is the 25-year, and I'm going to put a little bit in the glass and do side by side after we're done with this, just to see, because this was the one, and to what you were saying before, man. I got 2 bottles of this at $150 a piece back in 2018. God, I wish I would have bought 70 of them. It's the only whiskey I would drink. It's a 5 out of 5 whiskey for me.
Well, I did buy the 83s. I bought for $2.99 a piece.
Wow, man, that's a crazy price. But I would definitely go that all day, and I would still go up to 400 on this one easy. I think it's definitely worth the value. But before we get into the weeds, this is 46%. They do have, if you're lucky enough to find a single cask version of this somewhere and it's affordable, I would say jump all over it. This is the standard version. This is the first release though. It's a 46% ex-bourbon. This was done in 2014 and from 83, I believe. It's definitely 31 years because I did the did the math and everything, and I was like, wow, 31 years is just crazy to find that, and especially in Balblair and be affordable. So definitely do your homework. You can still find it out there. That's pretty much the tale of this one. Um, Go
Man.
ahead, Eric, with what you think on the
Yeah,
note.
dude, I gotta just say straight up, this is the amount of respect I'm showing to this. I only poured half this sample because I'm recognizing that this may be the only other Balblair 83 I ever have in my life. So I'm not even playing. And I'll tell you right away, the nose of this is it is a departure from that single cask. It is much more like the 90 nose. It is soft. It is rich. Lots of nice kind of yellow fruit, tropical fruit. There's a little bit of spice in the background, but very slight. Little cinnamon, a little bit of like a almost clove or nutmeg.
This is no chill filtering, no coloring. This is the way they should do it from the get go.
The nose. I can assume already it belies how rich this is, but I will say the nose by and large is, it's not bad. It's very sweet. It's very delicious smelling, but there's nothing like jumping out at me as being like, whoa, this is something different. Like I don't get the casks used for this must be just near perfect because there's not a lot of like overly oakiness. There's not, it's very soft. It's very well-rounded. It just smells like almost like a syrup.
I'm surprised. Are you getting any like spices from the nose? I'm getting like
some nice
spices.
Yeah, as I mentioned, there's a little bit of like a clove and a little bit of a cinnamon thing, but it's not overpowering at all.
No, it's not. It's not. But I get a lot of apricots, a lot of fruit.
Yeah.
Some maybe orange, a little slight like an orange marmalade.
Definitely. Concentrated.
Yeah. It's I love the nose on this, honestly, because it's just it's an older ex-bourbon cask, and this is kind of what you get, right?
And that's what I think the magic is. This is not overpowered by bourbon notes at all.
I love how the fruit, the spice, the cinnamon and the cloves goes right into the apples, and then it gets sweeter and sweeter as it goes along.
Like a Honeycrisp apple, like a juicy, just crisp, ripe apple. It's like caramel. There's a little bit of like a kind of like a toffee,
toffee, honey's there.
Honey, yeah, like a word, not like a Werther's original, but like a like a confectionery toffee you get at a candy shop. That's been
What's great about this nose to me the most is that as complex and refined as it feels, it's still intense. There's no weakness to the nose. It doesn't feel like it's diluted. It doesn't feel like it's got too much going on. It's about perfect, I'd say.
And then, in the background, I do get some, and this is the older note in it, but the older comes through in a lot of different ways. But one thing is slight, and I'm not talking spring, bank level, but a little dunnage.
Dunnage. I'm getting that dank. It's got this danky,
just a small dankness, which
makes
it just makes it really nice. Just you can tell that it's an older whiskey.
Yeah, it's almost like Glen Scotia level, where it's like just a little bit, maybe even slighter than that. The other two things I would just mention, again, the warm gingerbread, like a gingerbread, and the mango, like the tropical. Yeah. It's not like a sharp citric pineapple. It's more like a whole, well-rounded mango kind of thing.
I'm even getting like a hint of nougat on the nose of this. It's crazy. It's like going from these deep fruits, and now it's getting more savory into like a cashew nougat kind of thing. It's changing. I love that.
Yeah, I do like the nose on this a lot. Like I said, I'm getting it in this glass, so it's concentrated, which I like to smell in a anything below 50 ABV. I do like using this glass.
I had to find one of those blenders glass, man. I love
it does on the nose. It makes a big difference on the slower proof. I will say, it's well worth the money if you can find them.
I'm definitely going to look again for that.
Man, I can't wait any longer. I got to go in.
All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
Slaunch, gentlemen.
Sláinte, guys. Tasty Tuesday, everybody. Hopefully you can get your hands on this if you haven't got it already, because it's definitely worth the venture.
Oh, yeah. It's just...
I love that ABV. It's like perfectly placed.
Oh.
The cast strength would be great, man, but this is not bad either.
Oh, Jesus.
Ooh, wow. Oh, the finish is my favorite part of this.
Finish is long for a 40.
Far the best part. You get the spice hit, and then you're like, is that the end? And then it's like, nope. Here comes a bunch more of just like confectionery, caramel, light brown sugar, slight kind of berry underbelly to it. Oh, man. Yeah, that's shit.
This is going to be a mindfuck whiskey, I'm telling you, man. It's going to be crazy.
I mean, there's definitely oak, but it's good oak. It's not over oak.
Butter. Like
butter.
On butter.
Apricot, fruits, orange, kind of an orange chocolate liqueur to me, in a way.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God bless.
Yeah, like Cointreau or whatever,
Cointreau, yeah.
Cointreau, yeah.
It does have that. It's so really nice on the. It's got this feathery finish that just lasts for ages, and the apricot level is insane.
It is. It reminds me of like I go to Ben Nevis, but it's the '98 Ben Nevis is that year, very known to be very apricot-y, and this has got it in spades.
Man,
to me, this is just a super well-crafted whiskey.
Yeah.
It's not the most, it's not going to be knock your socks off and powerful. And
it kind of knocks my socks off.
Yeah,
it's that delicate nature of the Balblair. They're soft whiskeys, I think.
Yeah.
There's a weird thing coming through, and I don't know. This might be off the wall. Man, did you get like a buttered sweet corn? Like kind of like, it's not corn like a bourbon, but like almost just like you bit into a really fresh piece of sweet corn. It's just got a little bit of that pop with a nice creamy buttery to it. Man.
Yeah. The mid-palate, definitely the mid-palate and the finish are, the entry is soft. But
wow,
the mid-palate and the finish is just very good. It surprises you.
It's to die for.
Yeah.
It's to die for, man.
But it's so well balanced too. There's all the flavors. I mean, it's a fruit bomb. I mean, there's a lot of fruit, but it's still.
Oh, papaya is out these.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, I didn't get like a plantain papaya thing going on.
Let me tell you, this right here. When I look for older peated whiskeys from the 70s, I look for something like this, add peat to it, right? I mean, I love tropical fruits, a heavy tropical fruit, which you used to be able to get it in a lot of more islands than you do now. But in the older ones, you get that. And I love that. Older Ardbeg, Lefroy, I mean, all that had, even the 10-year-old from the, the older Lefroy's had tropical notes out the yazoo, right? So it just, they really do.
The apricot note
it's really good.
Overwhelmingly dried apricot with a little bit of that, that kind of like sugar coating they have on them, but also just like a very pure. I mean, you could even go into like dried kiwi with this, and like dried like other tropical fruits. Just that the dried nature of it is, again with the age. I mean, you expect dried fruit notes with an age like this, and you're getting them.
I know it's sacrilegious to think about, but do you have a little bit to put like one drop of water on? Just to see what it might do. I would suggest definitely just one little, drop just to give it a little bit of a, maybe two at the most.
I'm doing 2, just to help, just to mess around with it.
I'm going to do 2, and I wouldn't go any farther than that with a 46, but man, I'm so glad that they didn't do 43, because 43, man, it's tough to really play with that.
Man, there's a borderline sweet tobacco note in this, like very sweet tobacco. You get a little like you opened an old wood box that used to have cigars in it, sweet cigars, like just a little bit there. And this might be what you were saying, Stephen, the the Dunnage Warehouse note. But you know what I'm saying? There's just a little bit of that depth to it.
The first note I got after the water on the nose was a really nice shaved coconut type of note. Like a fresh shaved coconut. Still juicy, though.
Oh, man.
Yeah, this is just a great sipper. I think it's a superbly crafted whiskey.
I can't get over the mouth coat on this. Being as old as it is and refined as it is, it's still got power, and that's what I respect from this a lot too.
Yeah, definitely on the finish. I mean, you're getting spice, and I'm getting, but it's not. But the balance is there, right? That's what I love about it. It's just so well.
The finish is so like when the dryness or the kind of spice hits on the finish, it's accompanied by a mouth-watering like sweetness. Just, man,
I love the spice on the palate after the water. It's got a little bit more of a spicy mid. I could say cinnamon still. It's not as deep as black pepper. It's not as light as white pepper, but it's like in the middle, like a spicy kind of hit.
It reminds me. This is the last thing I had that this reminds me of, which this is probably. I'd say this is even more of a kind of a first fill bourbon. It's not as balanced as this, but it's just. I had the 68 Ben Nevis.
Oh man,
this is a 30 early 30 maybe 31 32-year-old. But it's all bourbon, and it has those notes, those tropical fruit notes.
1968. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's only 43%, but it's.
How old were you in '68, Telex?
I was born in '75, my friend.
Yeah, I know. I was negative 13, so you're negative 8.
But that's what it reminds me of. It wasn't my buddy Kenny had one open, and we both got one at the same time for a very good deal. And it reminds me of that because it's just big on the fruits, big on those. It's just, but still, it got kick. It's got power.
Yeah.
So
the spice really on the water after spending more time sipping on it, it's definitely gone towards more of the sandalwood spicy area, cedar, like kind of a ginger snappy finish to it. I'm wondering if I like it with the water on the palate at all. It's interesting. I think it's worth a dabble, but I think I do prefer this all neat. I mean, it's so good neat. It's almost like sacrilegious to even screw around with it.
Yeah, I'm right now. I'm just doing a sip of the 25, the 1990 second releases comparison, which is of course ex-bourbon, ex-sherry. But I'm not looking for flavor. What I'm looking for is the mouthfeel.
Oh, okay, yeah, good idea.
And because I like the flavor is obviously different. It's still very delicate and well-rounded. It doesn't have quite that oiliness of this one, which makes sense. It's still damn good, but yeah, dude. I get the apricot on this though.
Oh, the 90, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
even
a
with
completely
the sherry
different beast, right? I mean,
wow.
Just because it's the sherry.
Even with the sherry, you still get that apricot note.
Yeah.
Well, Telex, I'm gonna have to just like. I think I'm about ready for final thoughts on this one.
Go ahead, man. If you are ready, I just can't believe how spicy this gets after water. It's insane. Go ahead, man.
This is one of those like you put your hands in the air and say, what can you really say? There's not. If this doesn't do it for you, if this doesn't connect the synapses about why single malt Scotch whiskey can be so magical, it's difficult to imagine what could. It's near perfect. I mean, what are you going to do? 5 out of 5. This is not even a question.
Yeah, I mean, I it's funny. I was thinking about what you were saying.
What the fuck are you going to say about this? It's perfect. I mean, it's nectar. It's nectar.
Yeah, I was thinking about when you were saying that, kind of following along and thinking, what am I going to give this? Because I never really scored this whiskey before. And I thought, you know what? I'm definitely echoing what Eric said, but also what made me know that this is a 5 out of 5 is that it. Well, there's only one thing I can think of that might make it better, but we'll get to that in a second. What made me know and believe in this whiskey is I don't feel anything's missing, even though it's straightforward ex bourbon, and that's a big thing for me because I love my sherry, I love my peat, I love lots of different types of whiskey. I like it when it's blended right, when you got peat and sherry and an ex bourbon cask. I like all of it. This one to me is perfect because it's straightforward ex bourbon. All it's got is great age, a good ABV, a great craft. It's all it needs to stand out and say, "This is all I need to be perfect." I mean, adding sherry to this might make it different, but it's not going to make it any. I don't think any better than it already is.
Everything you're saying, man. Everything you're saying. It's just, yeah.
It's like, what can you say to add to it to make it any better? The only thing I could say to add, and this is the reason why I thought, well, maybe 475 might be in the cards. The only thing I was hesitant about the 5 was because a cast strength version of this that Steven has. I have you ever tasted it yet, Steven?
I haven't. No.
Oh my God, you got okay. If I get my ass to Nashville on your 50th birthday, dude, I will. I promise. Hold on, hear me out. I promise I will get on my hands and knees and I will kiss the ground and beg you to open up that bottle.
Ooh,
no. We'll have plenty to drink.
Dude says we'll have plenty to drink.
I want to taste this so bad I can scream.
We'll have plenty.
I hear you, man. I thought at least I'd give it a try.
Yeah, I mean,
72 are big up here. I think we'll have enough.
This is a 5 out of 5 whiskey across the board. One of the best fucking bourbon casks you'll ever have. I mean, I'm drinking the 25-year-old 92nd release sherry, which I also gave a 5 out of 5 to, and I think it stands with that. But this, I don't even know what to say, man. It's so perfectly crafted. I just saw Andrew Page said, "How does this compare to the Bruichladdich Black Art 4.1?"
That's a good.
If you said I could only drink one, I would take the Bruichladdich Black Art 4.1 just because it's more dynamic and more interesting. But this doesn't suffer because of that. This is perfect at what it does. Even at the price, I think, this is a once in a lifetime whiskey that you're just going to bring out every once in a while, pour for your friends who know how to appreciate it. It's that good.
The only thing I would say different on this one before you go into another thought in the Black Arts 4.1 versus this one, the thing that the Black Arts brings to the table that this one unfortunately does not have, but I don't think it's necessarily missing, is that maritime truffle note that you get. I always got it on the 4.1 Black Arts. I did not get it on the 5.1. That was missing for me, is that real nice maritime seashell truffly earthy note, mushroom gravy almost kind of note I got from the 4.1. I don't get that on this one, but it doesn't need it to be glorious.
No, this is what it is. This is it. I think the Bruichladdich. God, there's probably weird. There's wine casks in that we've never even heard of.
That's very true, man.
This is a pure expression of a well-aged bourbon cask, and just to add one more note, I don't want to take up too much space, but to add one more note, the thing that I respect about this is that the bourbon cask, and so earlier on my happy hour tonight, I was drinking, I uncorked the Balvenie 21 single barrel traditional oak, which is refilled bourbon. And what I was commenting on about it was how spirit forward it was, how it was willing to showcase the Balvenie spirit and then complemented by the bourbon cask. That is what's happening with this. I don't know if this is first fill or who knows at 31 years. But again, the thing is that the bourbon notes in this are not overpowering so as to kind of remove any of the, take away from any of the complexity in favor of just heavy kind of standard bourbon notes. It's complementary. It's complementing it. And this is what I experienced with the 21 Balvenie tonight. And again, just one more reason I think this is just a fucking stellar whiskey. Man. There's no doubt about it.
The macadamia nuts I'm getting in this now are just crazy.
It's such a great whiskey. Like I said, to me, it's like I always go back to it's so well crafted.
Yeah.
It just for an ex-bourbon, it's it's so balanced and well crafted. I'll give it a score 2. Why not?
Good.
But I don't do the 1 to 5. I go 1 to 100 because I have to have more. I have to add more variation.
Go for it.
I will give it. And this is a great score, but I would say a 90 to 91, and that's a very good score. It's a very good score. So,
has anything hit your 95 and up area?
Yeah, I was gonna say on the Telex and Eric scale, a 90, 91 is like what 4.25.
It's very good. No, it's very good, and no, it has. No, that Port Ellen is ungodly.
Oh God, yeah. Okay, go no farther, but he's right. There are a couple. The Brora, Port Ellen, Rosebank area.
The 10th release up there is probably the best bottle I've had so far in my collection. Taste wise, it's just bar none. It makes this taste like whatever. It's not. It's all right.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Brora, Rosebank, and Port Ellen are like the 3 dead but yet revered distilleries that live on in somehow some of these guys. I'm not one of the lucky ones yet. Maybe someday, but that can get some of these bottles. They are glorious. I've been lucky enough to taste a couple of them. I'm like, wow, that's true. There is that. That's almost like what I would consider like a unicorn. Like if you get to a 5 out of 5 like this one, there should be like that level of just unicorn bottle where it's like you can't even hardly touch it. It's in that kind of area.
Because that's why I try to be conservative with score, just because there's always going to be something out there. I mean, I think. But for what for the
46%
and just not unpeated, which I usually
do
gravitate toward the peat more. Depends. Even slightly peated.
And this is why I have so much respect for this, Stephen. And I hope you feel the same. Is like I gravitate towards either peat heavy or sherry heavy whiskey. To me, like ex-bourbon whiskey doesn't really usually even make me that excited. This one, on the other hand, made me see the light that you can have a straightforward ex-bourbon cask whiskey and kick everyone's ass.
No, I can't. No, that's what I was telling you, Telex, about months ago, right? That you can with this ex-bourbon. It's just you got to get the right ones, and that's one of them. So
that's for damn sure.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
There, right? The complexity's there. It's very complex. And it's got those tropical fruits, man. If you can get when they produce the tropical fruits, it's magic.
For sure, man. What were you gonna say, Eric?
I was gonna say this is a fucking good whiskey, man. I still got half a sample. Because I got to say that I knew in advance. I was like, this is going to be something, and it is. Yeah, it's great. It's great. I'm very comfortable putting the gold, whatever you want to call it, putting the gold medallion around this bad boy. What a good whiskey.
Yeah, but like Steven said, the only thing, if I was doing it like with a wider scale, I might give it around a little bit smidgen lower, but only the reason I can only think of to make it even any better is a cask strength version of this. I can only dream of ever tasting a 55% version of this 83.
The way that I look at it
blows my mind.
on the 5-star scale is like, for me, a 4 is a 90. So like 4 to 90 to 92. 92 to 94 is a 4.25. 95 to 97 would be a 4.75, and then 97 to 90, it's like more of a bulk range, but it's like a few points. Neither here nor there. But like that's kind of the way I think about it. Anything I give a 4 would be equivalent to like a 90. And so I'm with you on that. I mean, it's. What are you gonna say? Throw me a 98. It would a 77 Balblair. It'll probably still be right in that range.
The oldest one they did in this vintage, when they did this. It was 69. It was a 69, 1969. So.
Oh, did anyone in the channel ever have a chance to taste the 69 version of Balblair? Did you ever, Steven?
I did not. No.
I was gonna say, man, that has to be, if this was like what, 300 when it was first released.
Yeah. Yeah, right at that. Yeah.
So the 69 must have been like a $500-$600 bottle at
release.
Yeah,
I heard a lot of good things about the 75 too. I think it was a 75 that was supposed to be really good. So that was
damn. They had a 69 and a 75.
Yeah, 75 put out too. Yeah.
Oh, dude, my birth year 75.
Yeah,
I might have to.
Telex, you better take out another mortgage, bro.
Find one. I mean, I'm saying when I say find one, it's an auction, right? So, but you can get one. If I see one, Telex, I will let you know. How about that?
That would be gloriously awesome.
Yeah.
I'll jump all over that because I need. Well, I probably will maybe do an art. I don't know, man, because Ardbeg, just straightforward peat, it's kind of hit and miss with me. I gotta have my sherry with my Ardbeg to.
No, wait, Telex. If you're going to 75 Ardbeg. Just shut the fuck up. You're gonna love it. Okay? Don't try to get sherry. Some of the best art bags you can buy are ex-bourbon in the 70s, cask strength, single cask. Don't even go that route. Sorry.
I am complete. I'll get my blinders on, sir.
When it comes to 70s art bag.
I put my blinders on, sir. No, I know what you mean. That's true. You can't be. It's a whole different beast when you're doing ex-bourbon, straightforward, peated Ardbeg 70s. You're right. You know how it is though. You get kind of in a trap when you think of all the choices and all the cask types that you can get into. It's almost like a bad thing to think about all the choices you've got in whiskey if you think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of muddy. I mean, it's great to see some of these guys that could pull off like a muscatel, or not a muscatel, but what was that muscat cask you talked about? If someone like pulled off that perfectly, or a Bordeaux wine cask, or a French Syrah, like if you pull that off well, it's like glorious. But it doesn't happen very often. Usually,
it's tough. It's tough. That's why you see more. You see sherry and regular, Oloroso sherry or PX or ex-bourbon, of course, because they're in ex-bourbon because there's so many casks they can put together, but that's what you see. I mean, and some of it, doesn't work well. I mean, I agree that, Madeira is not my favorite cask it's fine. I've liked it, but it's a little too sweet for me, or Marsala, which I've had some good Marsala, but it's sometimes sweet too. It's got to be, but it's all a hit and miss. It really takes a special. I've had some good port ones. That some people don't like the port as much. I do. We've had the Amrut for one we had that. Yeah, it's good. So,
Amrut, yep.
So it's just I'm looking to see if there's on the auction I'm letting now, if there's a 75 and there's not, there's an 89.
I know there's a 75 Annock that Peter White has.
Yeah, that's true.
Peter White's got a bottle of it, and it's still available. And I've seen it in the U.S. and you could probably get your hands on it, Telex. All right, everybody, we got to hunt for a birthday bottle for Telex. All right,
I will look out.
If anyone wants to know, it's October 14th.
There you go. Hint.
Shameless plug.
I'm gonna sign off for Telex. This has been a lot of fun, and Stephen Connor, thank you. Great to hang out with you again. I do have to sign myself off here for the evening, but you guys enjoy the rest of the show. And Telex, we'll talk soon, man. Thank you again. I got a half sample of Balblair 83 that I'm going to save for a special occasion, a day in my life. Which, what else, man? What are you going to do?
Yeah,
I'll pour this. I'm going to pour this sometime and be like, oh man, it's going to be exciting. I'm like, I remember I got that 83 Balblair. All right, you gentlemen, man. Everybody stay safe. Be well.
Hey, just before you go, Silverlock says that the 69 is available at Benny's in Chicago. So,
Ooh.
Just for you to know. So
I'm afraid what the price is. What's the price?
Oh, God.
Sure,
yeah.
reasonable. I'm sure it's reasonable.
I'm sure it is too.
15
Okay.
grand.
Silverlock. Love you guys. Have a great space. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Good to see you, Aaron.
Catch you guys later. Peace.
There you go. October 14th, November 6th. Oh, is that Malt's birthday? That makes sense. That's funny. Yeah, it's a glorious strand, man. I'm really appreciative to Steven, because if it wasn't for him, I never would have pulled the trigger on this. I don't think, because I never would have had a chance to even know what it's like to even think about contemplating like getting a bottle like this. So I was lucky enough, like I said, to find it locally, and they still have bottles there, believe it or not, for $400. A 31-year Balblair first release, 83 non-chill filter, no color. They don't pay me to say anything about the fact the bottle's there. I'm surprised they still have it for that price. You know what I mean, Steven?
Yeah, no, I am too. I mean, I don't know why they haven't sold it yet. I mean, that's such a great whiskey. Yeah, I'm super surprised they have it.
I think it's just Maryland's one of those weird markets where they sell a shitload of, of course, Macallan and Balvenie, and I want to say like one of the G's, either Glenlivet or Glenfiddich or Glendronach or one of those. They don't really do well with some of these off the wall ones, but man, Balblair is like definitely. I mean, now it's not as much a hidden gem because we've plundered and we've conquered, and it's just not available anymore as much as it was before. Have you like, honestly, have you tasted any of their new stuff at all yourself personally?
Not that I recall, honestly. No, I haven't.
I'm wondering, and not to say that some of the talk is not, warranted, but I'm wondering if a lot of this might be just, maybe they're new 18 or 25 or whatever. Maybe it's actually pretty decent. People just haven't, enough people haven't tried it yet. I haven't tried it. I don't know if Eric has. I know you haven't. I wonder if enough people have tried. I'm gonna start like maybe young and do a 12 or 15 or 18 or something, and just see what it's like.
Yeah.
Before we go to the 25 area, because that's a whole nother ballgame price wise. But I mean, since they're doing non-chill filtered, non-colored still, and they're still doing the craft right, I'm wondering if it's really that different than what we're used to. Maybe we're just spoiled by some of the ages we're able to afford. Like a 31-year Balblair is just insane if you think about it.
It is. It is. It might get you to, buy me that 83 if they still have a couple. I don't know. That's a good deal for it. So,
Yeah.
The problem is that Scotch is not going down in price, and it's any 30-year-old whiskey. Almost all 30-year-old whiskeys are going to be $1,000. So even no matter what distillery it is, some are way over 1,000. So that's a good deal for it.
Yeah, I would easily even think, if not that I'm saying I can't. I'm not saying I can afford this every day, but I would spend up to 500 for this bottle, honestly.
Yeah, no, I think I would too.
Comfortable.
Yeah.
But for 400, I'm like, wow. Yeah, I'm surprised too. But I don't think enough people know about what they're missing. Is the only reason why they're not selling it. If you think about it,
No, I think that's right. So what I want to drink one last dram. What do we? What do you do? Are you still drinking that, or are you going to something else?
I poured a little bit of this 83, but I'm willing to
drink it.
Go with. I've got a new. I haven't poured a whole lot of it, and I'm going to pour a little bit of it on the side. Have you had any of this I can't even say it. Ardmerkin.
Ardmerkin.
Yeah, this is the new 83-2102.
I've never had any of their stuff. I need to branch out. I am so stuck in my distilleries. There's about 15 distilleries that I that's what I'm so much stuck in there, and I need to branch out more. But I've not had that.
If you're looking for new distilleries, guys, there's two I can definitely highly recommend, and they're not cheap, unfortunately, especially one of them. But this one is definitely more affordable. You can get this bottle for $65. It's peated. It's it's from Adelphi, really, which is independent, bottling, which does great whiskey usually. This is their first in-house distillable bottle that they've done. It's 46.8% ABV, and it is peated. It's unchill filtered, no coloring added, straight from the bottle itself. I would for 65 bucks, I would definitely jump on this all day long. It's up there with the quality of another distillery that I like that's new, but their pricing is what kills me. Is Daft Mill. Daft Mill's got some really great releases,
Mm-hmm.
real specialized stuff that they do great on the craft, just like these guys do.
Yeah.
But they charge you 225 for a bottle.
No, I
That's
know.
for 12 years. It's kind of rough. I mean, I respect the craft, so I
No,
bought
I've
one.
got it. I've got one right here. I mean, I think Daft Mill is going to be a great distillery, and that even it's very small, and they don't put out a lot of bottles, but their single cask. I would love to. And in fact, I'm looking for a sherried, heavy sherried single cask. That's what I'm looking for. But I don't think I'm going to buy their standard, and I say standard, it's limited, but their release, they put out the 46%, or I think, or 40, is it 46 or 48?
Which distillery are you talking about?
Daft Mill.
Definitely, yeah. The I think that one's a 40. Man, I don't have it next to me. I can't. Let me see if I can pull it up real fast. I know it was a
There it is.
2007 winter release, I believe.
I've got a 2006 summer release, and it's 46.
Yeah, I think they're all about 46%.
Yeah. And, I mean, yeah, this is super, rare. It's like only 1,680 bottles. So, and it's very good. It's just for the price, though. It's hard to justify 200 something for a 46% 12-year-old. It's becoming easier because of everything else going up in price. But
if you don't mind, at some point soon, just find one of these Ardnamurchan, I can't say it, Ardnamurchan bottles. It doesn't have to be this one per se, but try to find one and tell me what you think of it, because it is peated. It's got some really nice notes on it too. Let me see if I can pull up a little added information on the side here on this particular one. I think I have seen it. Let's see, Ardnamurchan. That's a funny name, but a great whiskey so far from what I've had. I've had some earlier stuff from them, and they were just spirit mode, pre
right.
3-year and all that, new make. But this 32102, let me see if we can find this exact bottle. Sometimes it's hard to find the exact ones because they have so many different releases.
All right, I'm gonna pour this. I guess this is one that, I mean, honestly, I've got a few of these now, and I like it, but it's honestly, it was slightly disappointing to me for what it is to be. I'd only say that, but when you see it, you're going to say, what? And I'm sure it does. So everybody will say, you're crazy. I still love it. It's just I expected fireworks when I got these, but it's a Lagavulin 25-year-old.
Ooh, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Heavily sherry, and it is, it's good. It's good. I'm not saying I do love it. Just for the price.
Yeah, that usually runs like $1,500, right? Well, back in the day when you first
it ran for about, Total Wine had about $12.99, 1,300 bennies, all that. And then now a lot of stores have jumped them up to about 1,700.
Ooh,
but there's not many left. There's very few left.
I saw one in Mills, which is down in Annapolis, where I am in Maryland. Annapolis had it at Mills for like, I think 13 or 14. And I saw it sitting there, but I was like, wow, man, I don't know for the price if it's worth that. What'd you think? Not worth the price?
It's not worth that. It's not. I mean, to me, and I have a few, and it's not worth it. I mean, I have bottles I like better for that. That's less, like I'll tell you, I mean, I like this much more, the 35-year-old Kalila.
There you go. Yeah. That's
I like
sweet
it.
bottle.
I got these for, $800 at the time. So,
almost half price for the better quality.
They go for more now, but, because they're not really, you can't even find them anymore, but, I like that bottle. I mean, there's a lot of bottles that I do like better. It's more of a price thing with the Lagavulins, but
If you're interested in looking for something like a newer distillery, what do they have to offer? What what's coming up next? This is an ex bourbon and ex sherry,
Hmm.
bottled in March of 2021, and this is the 32102. So we're talking, if it's 32102 and we're going to Baldwin 2021, it's got a little, I mean, it's not like, ultra aged, but it's got a little age to it.
Yeah.
48.6 is a great ABV. I commend them for that, and the fact that they do the no chill filtering, no coloring craft, is done well on the. And all Delphi bottles are always pretty good from your experience too, right, on the independent side.
Do what now?
The Delphi bottles are pretty good on your side on the independent, like you've had from them in the past.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. And we luckily Nashville just distributors here just picked them up, so I'll be able to get
Nice.
some more Delphi, which is good.
Lucky. Mm. Yeah, if you're looking for an interesting peated whiskey that's not just straightforward ex bourbon, it's got some sherry notes too.
Yeah,
It's really well done. I mean, it's not gonna like blow you away age wise, of course, but it's definitely got a really good profile to it, balanced well. The peat flavor is pretty damn good, I have to say too. I don't feel like it's, because sometimes I've had peat before. Like if you've ever tried like a Enoch Flounder or a Tomentoul peaty tang, some of these peated whiskeys are pretty bad, to be honest with you. I'm not sure if you ventured off to Tomentoul or Enoch peat before, but sometimes it's not worth
Enoch
it.
I have, in Tomato a little bit. Yeah, the Enoch was fine. I liked it. But anytime in the Highlands, any it's a Highland, correct? I'm sure. I think it is, right? Enoch's a Highland, I believe.
I believe so.
Yeah. Yeah. It's. It was fine. It was good. It was fine.
Yeah, it's a Highland. Just double
It's
check.
my thing is I do need to try more to see. I'm sure there's great bottles out there to kind of pull me in. To start really. It's these distilleries that I get that are kind of it's mediocre or it's fine. It's fine. And it's like, do I want to start spending money with that? Do I want to really invest in the distillery? And that's the thing. I just haven't found those two have not hit me to where I want to buy. I try to be selective. I'm trying to be more selective because I got plenty of bottles.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, have you tried? I know you weren't impressed as much with the Aaron 25 straight release, but I have noticed they do have like a 24 cast strength, like 24 single cast type of release. Have you tried any of the new Aaron stuff like that?
I have not had a chance to try those, but I will tell you that that's really what kind of got me into Aaron was their single cast a little bit. And I'll show you. And I think I keep showing this bottle sometimes on the. Let's end this one open, but I've got a few of these. But this is really what got me into it. I was in Austin, Texas, and at Specs is a great store there that they do. And this is a 13-year-old Aaron.
Wow.
Very nicely sherried, natural color. And this was fantastic. And this was like 85 bucks or something.
That's crazy. Look at that darkness for 13 years. That's insane.
Yeah. And this was like, for me, my best value of the year was buying this bottle. It was really good for the price, and 53.7. I mean, it was great, and this kind of got me into the air and trying more. And I do like their distillate if it's done right, and if it's especially for their sherry or special casks, different casks. I think they do a good job. So yeah.
I will say that I didn't like the Flounder, but I do like the Enoch Cutter. The Cutter peat to me is better, a lot better. I'm not sure if it's a style. It's weird. I've had different peat where I've liked one versus another a lot. The Enoch Cutter to me was great. The Enoch Flounder to me was horrible. The Tomentoul peaty tang was horrible, but maybe I'll find a Tomentoul peated that I do like. So I'm definitely not going to knock them completely, but it's just funny how some of these peat differences are very detectable, is I guess the word for it. But yeah, I'm gonna have to try the. In your shoes, Steven, if I had the money, and if I'm looking like now what I would invest in, I would definitely not go crazy and buy more than one, but I would try at least one of those Aaron 24-year cast, like single cast strength ones that I've seen them have recently, the new make, and see what you think about that, because
I
going from
missed out. I missed out on by a couple of stores that I buy from online. I missed out on the heavy sherry 24-year-old single cast. I know that Nichols and Perks, who I buy a lot from, had it.
that's the one I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's who I usually buy from because it's and I had the chance to do it. I just didn't do it, and so that's kind of I know that Whiskey Exchange, a lot of those, the European, the UK stores got those, a few of them.
You
So
might be
yeah,
able to, hopefully you don't have to go crazy on the secondary market to get one, but hopefully you can still find a good deal on one. Because if you can, I would say if you try like that one you got is the older version.
yeah,
If you
yeah.
got if you sunk your teeth in a new like 20-ish year single cast strength Aaron, I
Hmm.
bet you would find
Oh yeah, I'm
something
sure I'd love it.
you probably feel like you would maybe hang around with for a while, as you've seen Glendronach, have kind of like
Right.
fell off the wagon. I mean, I'm sure they got plenty of stuff out there that's still priced where you can get it, but once you run out of
Yeah, no, I've got
options.
I've got 4 single cask Glendronachs waiting for me to at auction in the UK. I need to get shipped over here after the
Oh
next auction.
man,
Yeah,
oh lucky.
yeah, and they're good ones too. There's some really. I mean, because I know my cask. I mean, I know the cask kind of well. There, and knows what's good and what's kind of people are looking for, and what has a good rep for the quality. So
But I was thinking, once you get, if it starts getting, hard to find those, maybe that's the
yeah.
first place out of all the things that we've gone through, other than maybe Edgedour having some possibilities. I don't know if they ever do things like that, but
Hmm.
thinking back and looking at all the possibilities of all the distilleries, where I would probably put money if I had to make an investment of who's doing it right between, yeah, Edgedour and Aaron are definitely the two that stick out the most. It seems like,
Right.
just thinking about it.
I
There's-
mean, like I said, right now I am looking. I'm kind of looking at. I'm still on the hunt for the older lags pre around 2015 and before. I'm on the hunt for uh, any 70s distillate, like especially Island. I mean, this is just crazy. This is like one bottle a year type thing, right?
yeah.
But I'm looking for 70s distillate Isla. I'm looking for. I'm trying to think what my watch list. A lot of it was Ardbeg, a lot of 70s and earlier pre the 97, 98 Ardbeg, like before they reopened. The lags. And some of it's the kind of the younger 10-year-olds and stuff that are only 43%, because I have just found that the quality of those bottlings are so much higher than what's being put out even at cask strength nowadays.
Yeah.
Like it's incredible. You just cannot get those flavors anymore in Isla whiskeys. So I'm kind of gravitating toward looking for that stuff. I'm looking for Old Ben Nevis because they're still, from a price standpoint, they have gone up a lot, but they're not like Isla level. So a lot of older Ben Nevis.
I was looking to find a Ugadal from Ardbeg from 2009, and
Yeah,
tasting that, I was like, wow, that's a huge difference, sherry quality
it's
wise.
huge difference. It really is, and that's when you try it, you can see the quality difference, and it is.
And especially that Supernova. I was lucky enough to find a Supernova 2009 from someone, the first release from 2009, and then going back to 2015 when they re-released it, and even the newer ones.
Yeah,
You can't get that 2009 Ardbeg. You just can't. It's hard
yeah.
to find that.
No. And Dustin was saying they had a lot of and he's right. They had much older whiskeys, and with the Oogies, it happened. It was more between 2000 and was it 3 when they came out, or 4 3? I think it was 3, late 3, 2003 or 4,
Yeah.
5, and then I think after the end of 5, they still had maybe older, but it wasn't. The first one supposedly according to sources, had 70s Ardbeg in it.
Oh wow!
And I mean, it may be.
I wonder what's so
The
damn
stocks,
good.
Yeah, the stocks were low, so maybe they did to put that out. It's very possible that they had them lying around and mix some in to kind of give it a little more on the sherry end too. So
I think this is why, if you remember back from when you remember when the Lefroy lore first broke.
I've got 3 of them from the first when they first did it. They do have older Lefroy in it.
Because I swear I noticed a huge difference when you go from those $120 bottles of Lefroy lore to the more like $90, $80 bottles of Lefroy.
No, they are.
You definitely get what you pay for when it comes to lore.
Yeah, I mean, they're not. I mean, that's one of the old. This is a first bottling of it, so this is an early bottling. And I've got a couple of these. I think 2 or 3. But yeah, these are fantastic.
And you notice the difference between those and the new ones too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, isn't it crazy how different the batch variations get after like?
It does.
I wish they numbered them so it was easier to tell if you have an old bottle versus a newer bottle, but they don't do it that way, unfortunately.
No, you just gotta. Well, they have. It has, well, with my old eyes, I can't really see it, but it's they do have it stamped where it's very faint, but you can see it where it's
Yeah, I have to say, guys, sometimes you might look strange when you do it, but if you go to the liquor store, bring me one of these. I swear to God, it's helped me in many ways where I'm like, the Ardbeg L date, what is that code on the bottom? I'm looking for it. So it does pay to do your homework.
I looked, we all can relate, right? When you go in, I mean, we're all whiskey nerds, so to go into a whiskey store and I'm like, you're opening the boxes, right? You're looking at date codes and I'm like on my phone and I'm looking things up and comparing like, what is this bottle and what, and then I'm like, and they're like looking at me like, what are you doing?
I'd explain to somebody that, if I'm investing, $200 or $300 on a bottle, I'm going to do my damn homework.
Oh yeah. And they'll start looking at me like I'm going to shoplift or something because I'm opening the box. What is he doing? He's like, just grab the bottle.
Just still do it, guys. If they come over to you and you're looking at things, just tell them that you're investing in a product and you want to make sure it's exactly what you think it is. Because if you explain to them that if I buy it now and I return it, are you going to be happy? No. So let me look at my stuff first so I can make sure it's what I want before I buy it. Therefore, there's no returns, right?
Right.
Before you open it, of course.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's you don't want to. I don't like this. Not the one I need. Not the one I'm looking for.
They won't accept that anyway. But definitely do your homework before you shell it out the money, because once you've paid for it, unless you've brought it back and it's got the the plastic still on it, they're not going to take it.
And that is the fun. Like that's the biggest thrill for me now is going into a store and finding these Dusties that have been sitting on the shelf, and you're like, oh wow, that's what the real value is, and they don't, right?
I'll never forget when I walked in and I saw 2 Lefroy 18s just sitting there.
Oh yeah,
in Prince George's County, Maryland, which is right outside of DC. And I went to the guy and I'm like, hey, I was afraid to say anything because I didn't want to feel like I was ripping the guy off, but I mean he put $90 each bottle in there, so I'm like, well, do you realize how much these go for secondary market? He's like,
wait, you told him that? What are you doing?
I felt bad because I felt like he's missing $200 per bottle. I'm gonna go ahead and buy 2, but I'll go ahead and I went ahead and got it for the price that he had on there. But I'm surprised that he wasn't willing to take the time to do a little research to figure out what they were really worth.
I've learned my lesson not to do that because, I go in if I see a good price, because there's plenty of stores that mark it up or they'll. So I've done the same thing with Lefroy 18. I've bought them off the shelf for like $85 a piece, and it just in Kentucky. This was like Owensboro, Kentucky.
There you go.
Yeah, and I just that city has no good Scotch left. So.
That's where my dad was born, actually. Man.
Yeah, no, I have family there, so that's why.
You do too. Yeah, well, see, Davies County, man.
Yep, Davies County. Yeah.
Maybe we're distant. Maybe we're distantly related.
Well,
it's back in the 1800s.
My wife's side.
Oh, okay.
1800s. My mom is from Kentucky, though, so I do have Kentucky blood in me. So.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I knew there was something good about you,
Yeah,
man.
but I've learned my lesson because I did that one time where this guy it was a Port Ellen, and it was before I was really getting into Port Ellen. I was like, it was probably an eighth or ninth release. And I was like, how much you want for this? And he was getting a decent price. And I was like, okay, well, that's good. Yeah, I said, these are really going for more nowadays.
Oh no.
And I said, I'm going to probably, I'm going to think about it. And, when I travel back through here, I'll probably pick it up and stuff. And so I go back and, they raised it $500 on the price.
Oh no.
More than secondary at the time. And I'm like, oh, I remember you had it to this price. I know, he said, oh, but it's this price now. So I'm like, okay, all right, well, I'll never be back in here again. But whatever. I was just, I was more, whatever. I think it's still sitting there and collecting dust, but it's fine. But I should have never said anything.
I know what you mean. I had. Isn't it weird that like you're like there's this devil sitting on your shoulder over here, and there's angels sitting over your shoulder over here, and they're talking to you, and they're thinking, okay, what do you do? What do you say to the guy? It's like I feel bad about being in that situation, but it's like you're right. It's like if they don't want to take the time to do their own homework, then that's their problem, not mine.
I can tell you that liquor stores are doing just fine.
Exactly.
I have friends that run liquor stores, and when they tell me the amount of money that goes through those places, it's they're doing just fine. The pandemic has been good to them. So
I was gonna say, I know I probably spent more money actually in 2020 than I did before.
Oh, they're up 20 to 25%. I mean, in sales. So and that's just the store I know. It could be more in another one. So it's
wow.
Yeah,
Man.
I mean, it's kind of crazy, but So don't feel bad. Buy those good deals. Get those good deals. I mean, Dustin was saying that he's got the Balvenie 15s. I bought 7 of them, and that's that. I did the same thing. I bought a bunch of them.
Oh wow!
I bought a bunch of the ex-bourbon ones when I was able to, and then a few of the sherry ones too.
Are you talking about a certain year, like the 1999s, or are you talking about a certain vintage year?
Well, the ex-bourbon ones were I really like the ex-bourbon ones, and then if you can find the darker sherried ones, always look for the dark ones.
But what's the vintage year that you're talking about?
It's a single cask. It's a single cask, so it could be.
Oh, the Single Cask 15. I'm sorry, yeah. I still had Balblair on the brain. So I was thinking about Balblair. Sorry about that.
No problem. Balvenie. Yeah, it's just they are. Those are really good bottles for the price too at the time. So
those are the 15 single cask sherry bombs, right?
The 15 can be ex-bourbon.
Oh, okay.
So let me see what I've got here.
Because I've had some great 15. If you get the dark ones, the 15 single cask sherries from the Balvenie are really good. But you have to make sure that the dark versions. That's
right. Some are not first fill sherry. So that's the ex-bourbon, right? So that's
okay.
And usually, as Dustin will say, they're a lot of times older than 15 years old, and this one is. Yeah, this one is slightly older than 15.
I had the single barrel 12 version, but I haven't had a single barrel 15 version.
15s are much better.
They're pretty good, huh?
Yeah, and then the dark sherried ones, right? So that's a dark.
Yeah, that's a dark one there.
And that's from a while back.
So the 15 single barrel ex bourbons are also as good, you think, as the sherried ones?
I mean, they're just different. I like them. Yeah, I like it a lot.
So, I mean, I appreciate a great ex-bourbon if it's done well, so I'll definitely give it a try.
If you see one that's an ex-bourbon, pick it up. If it's a decent price. I mean, these were going for like 90 something or a little over 100. I think I probably paid about maybe $100 a piece for them, but that's a while ago. So
is that still a distillery that you get like heavily involved with on a regular basis? Is Balvenie as well?
I like it. Yeah. I think for lower proof, because they have this good spice note in them, they can really kind of carry the lighter proof a little bit better than some distillates. I've noticed.
Is the difference between them and Macallan as far as pricing? Do you like the pricing on the Balvenies better than the Macallan stuff? As far as like I know the quality is pretty good with both, but I noticed a lot of people gravitate more towards Balvenie than they do Macallan. I'm thinking it's probably because of the price. Is that the
I mean,
biggest?
I've never bought a Macallan to drink, so I take that back. I bought an Edition 2 before, and then my friend gave me an old classic cut. But other than that, I've never bought a Macallan to drink. Other than that,
After having the Edition 2, which I did like, and the other one you spoke of, did they not? They didn't tickle your ivories enough to get you kind of into the brand, right?
not at all.
Gotcha.
I mean, Edition 2 was like, oh, it's okay, $100. I mean, at the time, this is a while ago, right? I mean, this is what, 2 or 3 years ago, I guess, or longer. I don't even know, but Edition 2 was a while ago, and $100. I wish I'd bought all the Edition 1s I could. I had a chance to buy, but I missed out on those because I just would have flipped those, honestly, later on.
Yeah,
I would have traded those for a better Scotch, but
yeah.
because that's insane what they go for now, $1,000 for the Edition 1, which wasn't that great.
I thought 500 was crazy when I saw those prices.
Yeah, no, it's 1,000 close. I mean, they got up a little above 1,000 now. I don't know if they've come down a little bit, but Macallan just is not the more modern, at least modern Macallans. I'll put it that way. Modern Macallan is not. There's no reason for me to buy it to drink. I would only buy it to invest in, and I don't really do that. So
Right.
yeah.
Have you ever had a chance to try, and it could have been just a sample, the Rare Cask or the Rare Cask Black before?
Rare Cask maybe, Rare Cask Black no.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm curious because when I had the Rare Cask, which goes for 300 usually, is like the run of the mill, price. It was good, but when I had the Rare Cask Black,
Mhm.
it's travel retail, which makes it harder to get your hands on. But
Right.
it's a smoky version of the Rare Cask. It is a very, very well done, surprisingly, definitely good dram. But
Mhm. Is it
I,
worth the price? Is it worth the price?
that's the real
Yeah.
question. Like if it's $300, I'd say yes. But can you find a Rare Cask Black now for 300? Please let me know in the comments if that's even possible. If it is, I'd say go for it, 'cause I do like the Rare Cask Black.
Right.
It's actually pretty good. But if it's like 5 plus, I would say no. You know what
Yeah,
I
I mean,
mean?
I've had 80s, Macallan that I enjoyed. Yeah, I mean but I used to have 2 or 3 18-year-olds from the 80s that was
Ooh,
distilled in the 80s, and sold them because they just I sold them for over 1,000 a piece
oh,
for an 18-year-old 43 percenter. It didn't make sense for me to hold on to them. For that, and because I would rather have a Glendronach, which has a little more character to me at least. I mean,
right.
Macallan can do a great job with sherry, no doubt about it. I'm not knocking their older stuff and what they did before. What they did before, say, 90 in the 90s, right? And sometime in the 90s. That's when after that, I think they've gone downhill and have to continue to kind of do they put out decent products? Sometimes, yes, but it's just overpriced to me.
Yeah, I have to agree because Dustin was saying that the Rare Cask Black was going for 450, 500. It's not worth that. If it was still 300, I'd say go for it. But if the secondary market's 450, 500, never mind. It's a good dram, but at 46, I think it was like 46%.
Yeah.
It's definitely not worth the.
I just wish the Macallan. I mean, they could be so much more. I mean, they are, a great distillery. They've done a great job of marketing. I'm curious with all this new distiller from the new distillery, what they're going to be putting out. Will it, the quality, what will it be? I'm kind of pissed off at the owners of Macallan because also
Edrington Group, yeah.
what they did with Highland Park too. I'm just kind of pissed off at them.
Oh, Edrington Group owns both McKellen and Highland Park. Do they own any? Is it the only two that they own, or do they own?
No, they own one more, and somebody could probably say what it is.
What is it?
That I know of. What is it? Let's see.
I've got a new distillery list that I've got here that's got all the ones laid out. Let me see if I can find it.
Well, Dustin's talking about the Macallan is their cask quality. I mean, I think they own their own bodega in Spain now, so or at least they have. I think they do own their own bodega. So
Wow.
They should be able to do something better there than what they're doing. But
I'm seeing. Oh, Glenrothes. That's the
Glen
other
Ross,
one.
yeah.
That's one I will have to.
That's the redheaded stepchild. No offense to anybody who's redhead, but you know what I'm talking about. It's just that's
Yeah,
the one they don't put a lot of investment in. So.
I think you will see differences coming up as far as like what I noticed, and this was going back 5 years even ago, is that they had a run, and then all of a sudden, like about 3 years ago, they started churning out different types of runs and
Mhm.
different like vintage bottlings and stuff. So I'm wondering, I was surprised by their core make when I did a kind of a walkthrough in
That's no, you're right.
2018, I want to say. And yeah, I mean, and it gets like who drinks Glenrothes, and I agree. It's one of those distilleries that you don't hear a lot about, but going to their core line recently, I was surprised by what they were putting out.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be worth a look at just the core first to see what you think. I definitely would. I'm not saying making any investments in anything by any means, but after having a couple, I'm trying to think of what
I've
the.
got one. I've got one. When you come, this is part of the birthday celebration. This is the entry one. This is the one we start off with.
Oh, okay.
It's 30-something-year-old Glenrothes from '72,
Ooh.
sherried. This is the starter.
Ooh, dude, 72.
Yeah,
And that's a distillery bottle, isn't it?
it is. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Some of their distillery bottles, even I know that Glenn Cohen was saying their India is good, but some of their distillery bottles, if you get the right one, I've heard it. Some of them can actually be pretty good. I have to say.
Yeah. No, I don't doubt it.
Dustin's saying that some of the Cadenhead's store picks are pretty good too.
Yeah, they can do good stuff. It's just they don't have the they don't have the investment. They put it into Macallan in Highland Park, and and they're.
Do you know when they bought Glenrothes by chance? Do you know about what year they might have bought them?
I don't off the top of my head. Let's see here. I can tell you exactly. I've got it in my little book here.
I'm wondering if it's recent enough. I'm wondering if it's because they haven't like had you have to have like a plan.
It is recent. It is recent. They sold it. Looks like they bought it at first in '99.
Okay.
And then Berry Brothers took it over in 2010, and they took it again. The brand returned to Edgerton in 2017.
Oh, weird. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. So they had it, they sold it, they bought it back in 2017.
Oh wait.
Okay.
It says here, this is 2019 Malt Whiskey Yearbook.
All right.
It says the owner. Oh, maybe I don't know. This is weird. The Edgerton Group. The brand is owned by Berry Brothers. That doesn't make sense to me. But I mean, that's a good. That's confusing. I don't know what they're really saying there. So. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. That's a good question. I'd like to know exactly what the deal is between Berry Brothers and.
The 2019 sounds about right because I remember back when I was going through New York and DC doing some whiskey expo, like actually going through all the distilleries and talking with them and sampling stuff. I think I remember Glenrothes going through some major rebrand change. I'm trying to remember if it was before 2019 though, if it was 2018 or before, but they did go through some major changes, but I'm not sure. Do you know if Macallan was bought around 94 or 95 or if that was
99? This is
99.
This is interesting. Do you know that Suntory, as of I think today, still holds 25% interest in Macallan? And 30% owned by William Grant and Son.
Hold on. So Beam Suntory still owns a share of the Macallan, is what you're saying?
Well, I'm just saying as of I mean, maybe as of '99, maybe they still do. I do not know, but it's.
Oh, okay.
I'm going by. I mean, the owner, the majority owner who really runs is Edgerton, right?
Right.
But possibly Suntory still owns 20. Beam Suntory still owns 25%.
That's not surprising, really, but sort of surprising. But they should definitely make that more well known. You would think to.
Well, but they just have an interest. They're not running the operations, so they just
But they still have probably some sort of vocal control over what goes on.
They probably have a board seat, and some rights and stuff. Yeah, but
that makes sense too.
Yeah, I mean they're a larger shareholder, but so is William. Grant and Sons. That's 30% at the time. So I don't know. I'd be interested to know if that's still the case. Maybe so. It's very possible.
Did anybody have any of the new Ardbeg Supernova? Indy Ingot was asking about the 2019. I've had the 2009, which is a stellar first release. It was phenomenal. The 20, I think it was 15, was the middle. And they did really release a 2019. I never had this newer one. Did anybody have the newer one?
I liked it.
Pretty good.
It's a younger one, but it's good. It's good. I liked it. I mean, for their recent releases, yes, I liked it. Yes, I will give it a thumbs up. And but don't go overboard on price if you find one, right? But that's the key. But for 150, I mean, well, it went for a little bit more, even 150 retail. But yeah, it's a buy. I'd say it's a buy for retail.
Sounds good to me. I would say it's probably definitely worth a pick there. I'm not sure what he's talking about. 11-year Glendronach first fill bourbon barrel, 60.2. Wow. Number 2, Glenrothes 12-year aged ex-oloroso matured 12-year at 64.3. Wow. Lefroy 10-year second fill bourbon. What in the world is he talking about? This sounds good. This is the wow.
Oh, well, okay.
I guess he had a. That looks like a good spread. I have to say.
First fill bourbon, Glendronach, really? Yeah, I've had some first fill bourbon Glendronachs.
Were they good?
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's just it was fine. It was Glendronach does take sherry really well.
Said he doesn't really like the 2019 as well.
I thought it was good. I mean, better than any of the other committee releases, the standard committee releases that they put out lately. To me.
No, I hear you, man. Oh, I cannot believe how good this 83 Balblair is. It's insane.
Yeah, and this the lag here 25 is I'm enjoying it. It's just I do like more coastal influence in and the lags don't always have as much coastal influence. I mean, some do. I mean, one of my favorite lags is the 2015 12-year-old cask strength. I'll put that up against anything in there around that price range. It's fantastic because it does have more of a coastal influence, which I enjoy.
So you like the maritime seashell kind of note?
I do. That's why I like Talisker, certain Taliskers. That's why I like Kalilas. That's why I like Port Ellens. That's why I like certain older Ardbegs. But Ardbeg doesn't have as much sometimes. But sometimes depends on the ones. But
I'm surprised you're not. I'm surprised you're not more of a huge Old Pulteney fan because I've always some of their older stuff. I've got a lot of good their older stuff at least, not their newer stuff, but the old stuff has got some really good maritime notes off of the 21.
I do like Old Pulteney. But probably not to the level of say cask strength Talisker
right. That's all. Why doesn't Old Pulteney do cask strength releases? I'm kind of curious of why.
You had a store pick that was cask strength. We had that sherried one, which was good.
It's extremely rare that they do cask strength.
It is more. I'd be interested to get. I would think. I wonder if they have a program where you could get the single cask because that would be a good idea to get an older Old Pulteney single cask sherried Old Pulteney would be.
Oh man, I tell you what, it's burning me in my heart now. But Petite Cellars had this 1983 bottle for the longest time. It was a 30-year-old version. It was a 1983 bottle, and it was only like it was very low price. It was like $2.25. It was low price, and I meant to get it before they sold it off, but I just at the time I couldn't afford it. But I had my eyes on it, and I bet that was a glorious bottle.
Yeah, No,
It's like an 80. It was like an 83. This is back like 5 years ago. It was like an 83 release that was a step above the 21. I wish I would have bought it so bad.
No, we all have those. It'd be good to ask the chat. What's the one
Yeah.
bottle that you wish you had grabbed? Right? Why didn't you grab that bottle when you had the chance? Right? What's the and what is that the what other bottle? What would be the bottle, Telex, you would say that you said? Why did I pass that up at the time? You know,
The Brook Lottie Black Arts 4.1. If I could afford it at the time, it was only $300.
yeah,
I would have jumped all over that bottle like 3 or 4 times if I could afford it. At the
right.
time I couldn't. Now I can. I can't fucking find it for $300.
No, you're not gonna be able to find it for 300. Not
That's
at
what
all.
kills. That's what kills me. And that's the only thing I hate about this hobby is that I'll fall in love with the bottle, and then when I could finally afford it 3 or 4 years later, I
Mhm.
can't get it anymore because it's gone up $400 or $500 even more.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you.
That's why I was so happy to find this fucker for $400. I thought that was a steal, comparatively. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
price.
yeah. Well, that was a good. Sometimes we do good purchases, right? I think that was a great purchase I did. I bought a lot of the Highland Park 21s, the old ones, before
Ooh, the
they,
old
yeah,
21s,
the old
yeah.
ones, before they, where they sold out. The Kalila 35s, I was able to get a lot of those before. Let me try to think what I just missed out on that I just kicked myself.
I bet the Benevis stuff you probably could kick yourself over. Like if you weren't like into it at
Well,
the time, maybe.
yeah, I mean, there wasn't a lot to get anyway locally. Like I'm saying, at stores that I could buy anyway. There's never been
Yeah,
a lot of Benevis,
Benevis
right?
and
So
Holland Park definitely on the
yeah,
availability is like night and day difference. That's true.
I mean, honestly, some of the bourbons. I mean, when that I just let sit on the shelf, VTAX back in the day. That was, it's a while ago, but I remember doing it. I'm trying to think what has been. Usually, what happens is that when I miss a bottle, I'll find it somehow. That's my thing. Um,
I hear you, man.
so, but the big one. Well, that Port Ellen is probably irks me now because it was a good deal at the time. That's probably one of the biggest ones that I'm really irked to not buying.
Is that a distillery that's coming back? Did they reopen Port Ellen
It,
recently?
it is. I think it. I'm not sure if it's producing right now because of the COVID, but they are opening it. That's a good question whether that's been reopened or not. And I don't think they're producing yet.
Sadly, we're both in our 40s, so we're not going to see like great whiskey from those guys until we're in their 80s.
Yeah, no, that's right. Let's see. Yeah, it says now their opening date has been pushed back to 2021, so it should be at some point maybe this
Okay.
year.
That'd be cool, finally.
Yeah.
Has any distillery that's been dead that's been like brought you back to life? I'll give you a story. There's been a couple distilleries that made me think, wow, this is possible. This is actually really good. There's actually 3 that stand out, and I'm wondering if you've ever had any from these 3 distilleries. Dallas Stew is one of them, which
Mm-hmm.
was really good. Little Mill was pretty good,
I've had Little Mill. Yeah.
and the third one was the what was it? Not Rosebank, but the it was Little Mill. It was Dallas Stew, and there was one more. Pityvac. Pityvac was an interesting distillery that I was surprised at how good the make was, but this was like an old dead
Mm-hmm.
bottle. Have you liked any of those 3 before?
Pityvac I've not had. I mean, I've had Little Mill, a few of those. Those good, fine. Yeah, I mean that's quality. I mean, you look. A lot of these distilleries have been closed and dead. I mean, Ardbeg was done. That was shuttered, right? So
90s were horrible to Ardbeg.
Yeah. And there's a lot of distilleries like that. So
Have you ever had a Dallas Stew before?
no,
Maybe. It was definitely different. It was not like anything else that I can remember. I'm not sure if it was part of the mystique was having something that wasn't alive anymore, but it was one of those things that was weird because I think they still have a sale, but it's one of those things where they only sell it at one place, like one time a year kind of thing. So
Right.
it's tough to find, but a Dallas Stew might be worth your while at Little Mill if you've already had it. But
Yeah, I've
maybe
had. I mean, Little
the
Bill. I mean, so a lot of people love Little Bill. I mean, I think I just I get stuck with dead distilleries. I mean, right now it's Port Ellen and maybe a little Brora, but Port Ellen. I mean, I'm really looking for those because that's that 10th. What I've had in Port Ellen has just blown me away because it checks all my boxes. What I enjoy. It's got the coastal elements. It's peated. It's probably not peated to the level of say Ardbeg, but it's more, but it's got a lot going on. It's complex. It takes age really well, but it still packs a punch. It's just really, really good stuff. I mean, what I've had.
if you can find a pity vac for under 300, I would definitely jump over it
Okay.
just to see what you think. I'm kind of curious because it is kind of its own thing. That's what's kind of cool about some of these dead distilleries. I've noticed that they have their own kind of weird profile that you might not be able to get anywhere else,
Right.
even though it's
Do
But
you research bottles? Like if you see something, I mean, do you research it, find out what, you like distillers, right? .com. Is that what you like to review for reviews and stuff? What do you look at for your reviews to find out if you see a bottle? What do you if you're not familiar? Like if you're maybe you might not be as familiar with it. How do you research it?
well, this
Because I
was
think that's
more.
important to tell. I'm saying that because I think it's important to tell these guys kind of how we do it. Because but even though it might be a great distillery, it might there's duds out there too. You got to make sure that you're getting a good bottle. So what do you do?
The funny thing is, this is really its own kind of niche thing where for me, it was joining a whiskey tasting group that was online where you don't necessarily have to live next to the guy.
Mhm.
I joined like a 5-person tasting group where we were all determined to try every distillery that we can get our hands on in Scotland and even the dead ones. So thankfully, some of the guys were able to find like a little mill bottle of like a 12-year. One was able to find a pity vac, a Flora and Fauna bottle or something like that and in the Dallas do like a distillery bottle, at the time, I
Mhm.
was looking up to join a tasting group where I didn't necessarily didn't have the means or knowledge, of these dead distilleries. But thankfully, the other 3 guys, or out of the 5 of us that were doing it, they knew about these and they were, thankfully gracious enough to offer us a taste of it. So that's the only way I was able to do it was through sampling. But
Right.
even through the samples, I was like, wow, this little mill and the pity vac and the Dallas Stew were memorable because this was 6 years ago that I tried these, and I still remember the
Right.
experience, even though it's been that long ago. If that makes any sense to you.
Yeah, it does. But what do you do when you see a bottle um, that you might like at a store maybe or online or what how do you research to make sure you want to buy it or not? Do you do that
Yeah,
or you just kind of
the only two educational type of sites that I know of personally. First, I'll try Distiller. Distiller
Mhm.
has a pretty good range of. They'll give you like a they have their own. I'll use the word expert, lightly, but
Right.
they have their own experts that taste things and rate them. I don't usually look at their ratings per se, but I do look at the spectrum of the profile. They are good about saying, "Oh, this is smoky, or
Hmm.
this is peaty, or this is full, or this is rich, or this is briny, or this
Right.
is salty, or this is herbal, or this is floral." They'll give you a spectrum and a graph of where the bottle sits, and that's what
Got
I
it.
like about Distiller the most. If I don't find it there, and usually I don't because they're not great about a lot of the one-offs, especially independent bottlings, then I'll use Whiskey Base as my go-to for like profile of what to look for. When I was looking for this Art American 2014 bottling, this 2102 bottle, for example, the only way I could really find it was to go on Whiskey Base, put it in there, and that's how I knew it was bottled in March of 2021.
Right.
It's ex bourbon and sherry. It's 48.6%. And even though there's only one, rating in there at 87 out of 100, at least I know it's got, some visibility. But what about
Right.
you, man?
I really researched the shit out of stuff.
I'm all for it. I wish I had more sources to go by.
Yeah. No, I for one thing, I have a great group of friends here in Nashville that I talk to and text or will ask at a tasting or taste it. I'll taste it, and all of a sudden I'm and looks like John's in the chat now. He will tell you that even during a tasting, I might be like, if I love a bottle, I might be looking at it to buy it online on my phone at the tasting because I'm so much a fan of it. So, but I can tell you, I do. So my local people that I talk to and that I trust, I will also do Whiskey Fun. I do Surge's reviews, and for certain things, I think his palate meets mine, especially with peated scotches more. Some things not as much, but a lot of his stuff, yeah. I mean, he has his favorites too. Some things he doesn't give us great reviews to that probably deserve better, but a lot of things, I do look at that, and that sometimes is a killer for me if especially if you're spending a lot of money if he's getting a bad review to it. And in whiskybase.com, I will look at that, and there's 20 or more reviews on it. I think that's important. And I'll read the reviews too. I will look at the reviews and see what they say about it to see kind of what people are. And there's some reviewers there that I trust more too. That and then I will also just research the hell out of the bottle just to see if there's any additional stuff on it. Especially if I'm, like I said, if I'm spending some money. So
yeah, I will say that you and Mead Mule and some of the other guys that are in the chat, Swami and others have brought
Swami's here. Is Swami here?
Yeah, he just came in 2 wells down earlier.
Look at
there
Swami.
he is.
The hell, I haven't talked to him in a long time.
But all you guys have brought my eyes open to not just the chill filtering and the coloring and stuff, but the ABV is such a huge deal when it comes to a lot of whiskeys that I didn't understand the impact that it has, and it really does when it comes to not just the power of flavor, but the mouth coat in general. It's so different when you have 40
there's outliers out there, right? Now I'm kind of going, see that what's funny with me is I'm going slightly different way because like I said, I'm looking for the older distillate, and the older distillate, the finishes on those are much longer at 43, and there's much more flavor. It's kind of crazy but I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. Is it the time? People say that time in a bottle, that it doesn't matter if it's just in the bottle.
It does matter.
It might. I don't know. I don't know what the science is about it, but it's, like, I'll tell you, like, well, for one thing, that Ben Nevis I was talking about, the 68 Ben Nevis that John has had too, and he could attest to it, that it's fantastic at 43%. Another one is this one. This heavily sherry Lefroy.
Hold on. Let me put you on solo for that.
That's at 43%.
Ooh, 30 year though, man. Look at the color on that. Jesus, mother.
Well, it's green, but it's still very dark. It is.
That is dark, dude.
It's first fill sherry, super balanced, and a great whiskey. At 43%.
That is even with the green bottling, I could tell that was so dark, dude.
Yeah, no, it's you know what I mean. Trust me, if it was, I wish it was 46. I wish it was 48 or 50, because it would be otherworldly. It would probably be it would be like fucking best, but but it's still great. It's still great. It's,
right.
So it's but so I'm kind of like I'm still like higher proof, of course, and more flavor, but you can still, especially with the older bottlings, I wouldn't skimp out on that's the thing.
Any 70s presented bottle at any ABV is probably going to be a lot better than a lot of any ABV of any time now. Is the gist of it? It sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, there's not many 43 percenters modern that I would say go get, right, and it's just not there for the price, right? But some of the old stuff, like that was like a 90 bottling, but it's 70s distillate. I would say, yeah, I mean, if you get it for a decent price, they're not decent prices, but if if you get it,
Right.
get it because it's worth it because of the quality. So, but 46 is about where that's usually for modern whiskeys is, that I wouldn't go lower than 46.
That is a sweet spot for me. I mean, I have had some 40, 43% that's wowed me. I mean, it's funny. I'm definitely the farthest thing from a Dalmore fanboy you'll ever meet. I do not like any of their stuff usually.
Yeah.
I think the 18 is way overpriced in Maryland at $220. The only reason I bought my own bottle of 18 was because I found it overseas for like some reasonable price for like $130. To be honest with you, so it was like night and day difference on pricing, but.
Mm-hmm.
They do have one thing. What I was going for with this, there are exceptions to the rule, even though there are things that I just cannot handle when it comes to the poor craft of things. But if the craft is good and it's well done, a 43% whiskey can shine. Like the Delmore King Alexander III bottle, even though. Even at 270, I think it's kind of highly priced for a 40% whiskey.
Kind of.
Well, it is overpriced. I mean, when I first saw
it's
it was
not a bad whiskey, but it's overpriced.
Yeah, like
the
first time I saw it was 3 to 330, and that's when I was like, no, there's no way. 270. I was like, oh, we're still a little much, but
never would buy it for that. Yeah, but that is me. But
the only thing that I have respect for that whiskey, even at 40% with a drop of water, dude.
Is it 40%? Really?
It is 40, and that's what kills me. It strikes my soul as being painful. But I will say, with a drop of water, that whiskey does shine. I'm not sure what it is about it. If it's all the type of casks they use.
Sounds like the Basil Hayden of Scotch. So
it's one of those extremely rare 40% whiskeys that I can get into, but that's the only one that stands out where I'm like, you know what, with a drop of water and time, it actually makes sense to spend $250 maybe on that whiskey. But
really, you would spend $250 on that?
That's as far as I would go on that because of the fact that it's so low ABV. It is complex and it is really tasty and interesting with the water. That's the only reason why I'm kind of like.
Is it the E150 you think is tasty? Because
no, I don't like the craft.
It has flavor. Flavor.
I will say I hate the craft. I don't like the coloring. I don't like the chill filtering. I don't like any of that bullshit. I don't like the fact it's not at least 46%, which I'll agree with Steven is the sweet spot for ABV for all whiskey should be at 46%.
Well, bourbon's a different story. Bourbon needs to be 50 for me. I think.
But bourbon, Scotch.
We're Scotch, yes. For Scotch, yeah.
But just Scotch, I agree. Like, yeah, if you're going to go to bourbon,
for bourbon, but it's more like 50s where it really starts getting good. But yeah.
No, I hear you. But for Scotch, at that price point, I mean, for 40%, it is painful as hell, but it is good and worth it if you get it for $250-ish. And that is, man. I mean, I can think of a lot of better things to spend $250 on, to be honest with you, but. It is interesting how complex it gets with the water. I don't understand what it is, why it is, the cask, but I do commend them for the cask quality they use for that whiskey. But that's it. That's the only thing I can give them credit for, because the craft, like you said, the ABV and the all the other shit is bad.
I don't even know how Dalmore. How shit stays in business. I really don't. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's just all the E150 they add, and I just don't. For the pricing they're charging just because of the plastic stag they have on the front of the bottle. I mean, I just don't. I mean, the stag is cool. Not gonna lie, it's a great. It's just like bourbon. You put a horse on a bourbon and you're gonna sell it on a bottle. I guess with the stag and the cool stag logo, you're gonna sell it Dalmore, but.
The craft is not
The
there.
craft is not there, and I don't know when it would. I haven't looked enough into down more like the old ones. I mean, there is collectors for them, but they're not. It's
I'm surprised you've heard of their Constellation range. I'm sure by now, right?
yeah.
I'm surprised they can find people that are willing
They do.
to go that realm of expenditure for what you're getting craft wise. It's
Right.
like, I mean, do they color and chill filter the Constellation range? I would hope the fuck not, because that's crazy pricing they're doing for some of that
Who
stuff.
knows? Very possibly do. I
Isn't
mean,
that
who knows?
insane?
Yeah.
I hope that they don't, because man, they're getting screwed if they do. Because the whole Richard Patterson crazy stuff, I just never understood what and where and why. That was just crazy.
I mean, he's a big personality. He's a great, and he look, he can look. The guy has a lot of knowledge, no doubt about it. And he's doing, it's whiskey companies are their businesses. They're ran by boards of directors more than they are the blender. What Richard does and the master blender. So
that's sad.
They have they have marching orders and they follow those marching orders.
I wish they would I wish they would hand the reins to, in a lot of ways, to the master distiller to really guide where it needs to go, and that's for marketing and everything. Because
I think the blender is the more important of the in Scotch. I think and honestly probably in any the blender is really what you get, a great master blender, and that's who really sets you apart from everybody else.
Very true, man.
Because the distiller, I mean, and look, I'm kind of, these are not absolutes, of course, but the distilling part of it is auto. It's pretty much you set it and go. These things have been producing for hundreds of years, right? So I mean, if you've got to replace some things, and it's more mechanical and stuff. I mean, the master distiller, they are making sure things are going on right and all this, and they do have a say into it, but the blender is really, and who's going around and tasting those barrels, and that's really what they all have their place, but I'm just saying, and I think that the blender is probably don't get enough cred. So
before we go, because I do have to cut this short because I have to work tomorrow, unfortunately.
Same here.
But before we go, on a last note, what is it about? And I have no. People are going to think I hate her, but I don't really hate her. I'm trying to understand, what is it about Rachel Berry that she's with Glendronach, she's with Glenriach, she's with these big companies. Why do they trust her to do the right thing when all I see with the craft is just it's I guess it makes sense for mass consumption, mass distribution, but is that really what it's all about? I mean,
yeah, it is. It's the bottom line. The bottom line.
It's crazy with a brand in purity and quality and caliber of Glendronach. It just hurts me every day when I think about it, of where we're going with this.
Yeah, no, that's why why I say I have 4 bottles overseas waiting on me, because I'm buying them up as much as I can now, because I mean I have more Glendronach. I could drink a lot of Glendronach till I'm dead and I'll be fine. I've got enough, but I'm buying more because it's never going to be the same, right? So
to me, that's crazy that the master blender has no say in the craft of the whiskey, because I tell you what, I mean, even for people that don't know what they're looking for, surely they could taste the difference between 43% mediocrity versus 48%.
I mean, it's like it's a company. They have it's some companies are ran by Billy does his things different because he has more say in it, right? Because he's also, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's a big owner, right? If not the owner of Glenalec. So, he's going to have a lot of say, right? So, Rachel is a cog in a machine, and she came in, and after Billy left, and they're trying to use the owners that have come in, right, and they're trying to use that as a springboard. What Billy did and what he built that brand, and the great cask that came in that he took from 93 and the 72s they had, the cask, that in the 92s. I could,
glorious.
Glorious. Very,
Insanely
very
glorious.
Good, very good bottlings of heavily sherry Scotch, and they're taking that, and those casks run out, right? They're not, it's a 93 vintage is very different from a 98 vintage or a 2001. I mean, it's different. And, maybe there's a good vintage out there, maybe a year that I don't know, but right now as it becomes older, might be very good. I don't know. But, and those casks are very expensive, all those sherry butts and everything. And it's, so they don't have the stock that they did, right? A lot of it was sold. And so they're having to come at it different. They're trying to angle for the Asian market, and they're trying to angle for the heavy sherry. They're trying to, if they could be Macallan, they'd love to be.
The Asian market, man, the Asian market is going to kill us. I have a feeling with everything that's going on with Nika, buying up Benevis and all that. I hope to God we don't see these guys go on the wayside and not do some really interesting, great whiskey that we want to see.
Yeah. I think that, the Asian, look, there's some good Asian markets. Don't clump them all. I think Taiwan is a very healthy market.
True. Kavalan especially. Yeah.
And, but the consumer there too is very knowledgeable, and they like big sherry bones. They love big sherry bones. Like the darker, the better. That's what sells there. This dark.
I hope to God so, man. I hope
dark as AF, right? AF, dark AF. That's what they love. And so but in China is still getting into it, in China and Singapore and all those markets, and they love there's a lot of very rich people there that like just the name and likes the bottling and the packaging and stuff. So
I want them to be picky. Be picky as us. I hope.
Yeah. But they're not, because they don't know that, they're not into it like we are. So it's the Glendronach. It's like the Glendronach's not going to be the same. It's not going to be. I mean, they had a lot of old stock that they were putting into the 12 and then the 15 and the 18 and the 21 and all that. So that's all gone. So it's back, ramped back down to normal ages. And so somebody was asking, I think it was Indy, he was asking about which 18s are the best. The ones that I've had, I'm trying to remember, it wasn't the oldest that I thought were the best, which is funny. It's maybe 1 or 2 years before that, maybe 2018, maybe. I'm trying to remember I'd have to look it up, but the ones that I really like, 2017, 2018, maybe 2018. The 2019s were, really old. I can't remember the exact, because honestly, I don't buy a lot of their core range. Honestly, I only have a few of the core range. My wife loves the 12-year-old. That's what I get more than, I buy a lot for her on the 12-year-old. But there is a single cask. What I love.
There is a spreadsheet, if you find it still, where you can go back if you're looking to find the older 18s that are still out there. Yeah. There are some like 20, 24 even old 18-year-olds that still exist out there in the wild. But you look up that spreadsheet. Just do a search for like Glendronach PDF, old 1821. It should give you what we're looking at.
Yeah, it's an age chart. You can just look up age chart. Yeah. And you'll see that, in fact, I'm looking at it right now. Let's see here. Here we go. So the 18, let me my old eyes here. I'm wearing contacts, and it just kills my vision close up nowadays. But
I know what you mean, man. It's like that's what I like about these glasses that have the bifocals at the bottom.
Yeah. So on the 18, so 20, it was 2019 was the last really old one, and that's a 24-year-old. I think I like the 2018 and 2017 a little bit more, which was 23-year-old and 22. The last year for the 21 was, well, they're still up in years. So if you could get, supposedly the 2021 version is 26 years old.
Wow.
And next year will be 27.
That's crazy.
The next year will be 27. The problem is I'm not a big fan of the 21. So, but it's fine, but it's not. It's just not my wheelhouse. Too much PX influence for me. But but if you like PX, more influence. It's a mix there of PX and Olorosa. But the 21 is still going up in years, so that's good as long as they're not putting. I don't know if they put the non-chill. They have that on the 21 still, the non-chill filter. They take that off in 21 too.
They have it on the old bottles, but they took it off of the newer ones, from what I've gathered. I'm not sure how soon that's going to happen, but yeah, all their new stuff supposedly 1821 is going to have some open-ended thing for mass production. But like you said, it's I understand that they have to try to make $1 on one end, but geez, don't sacrifice all the craft for it. Springbank didn't do it. Why you?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Springbank isn't hurting for money, are they? I wouldn't think so.
No, but they're no, they're not. They can't. They're not able to keep up with demand, especially in. They send more of it here. I feel like. I mean, I know, as you know, everybody says.
Thank God.
Yeah, they're not able to get it over there in the UK, and they're only going price. Springbank's doing fine. I just hope that they stay, as they are, right, and not no one comes in and swoops them up too and scoops them up. So
I hear you, man.
Yeah, but no, but you're right. I mean, Rachel Berry. Look, I mean, she went to Bowmore, and people hated what she did there. Or some people thought it got a little bit better. I don't know. I'm not a huge Bowmore fan anyway. Well, but it did. She did the right things there too, because she got more jobs, and the reason why is because the bottom line. Simple as that.
Right.
So that's what company cares. It's really the craft is one thing, but if it's fine if you could be making money, but if you can make more money and do things a little different and save money here and there and make more money, then that's what they really care about. So
yeah, I'm going to be more choosing my craft going forward. That's for sure, man.
Yeah.
I really appreciate.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how many distilleries I know. Even especially. I mean, I deal with. I'm not going to say, but I deal with some North American distilleries too, and so it's a business, and that's the key. And they're not even making their own distillate, right? So it's a lot of times it's just what they can source, and it's really it's money. It's a money thing. So
yeah, I'm just glad that we are able to be as choosy as we can with what we do buy, and I'm looking forward to doing the show with you guys in the future on the Glen Scotia, trying to find that sweet spot $100 bottle and that sweet spot $500 bottle. That's going to be kind of fun to try to find what's the best option for those two in the future.
Yeah, and we'll talk. When we can this weekend, probably. It sounds like a good one.
Yeah, Stephen and I were talking about maybe some future shows together. We'll have some brainstorms to go through and see what we can come up with. But I'm looking forward to trying to find some really nice high-end bottles from some of these distilleries I haven't not yet found yet.
The Glen Scotia, I mean, the 25-year-old, I've just got one of those in, so that might be, we'll see after I try it. But the Glen Scotia has a lot of good, sub 100 bottles that are very nice. So.
Oh, definitely. 15 is one of those that sticks out like a good sore thumb, I have to say.
Yeah. So we'll talk. Yeah. So
thanks so much for coming by, man. I really, really appreciate it.
No, enjoyed it as always, man.
You're always welcome.
Enjoy all the people in chat too. A lot of good guys in there. So.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, guys. I really appreciate it. He's already saying the $500 will be the 25-year.
Probably, yeah. I mean,
I have a good feeling about that. That's good. That's a good sign, because a couple of years ago, the 25 wasn't there. So they're coming out with some new nice offerings, I have to say.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I mean, Glen Scotia has a lot of potential. Let's put it that way. I feel they do. They can definitely piggyback off of Springbank a little bit, which Springbank has helped them out in the past, really.
Oh, yeah.
And they can piggyback off of them and be the little brother to Springbank if they want, or become who knows what they can do.
The new Campbelltown,
yes,
Isla killer.
If they play their cards right and do the right thing, yeah.
Well, thanks so much, guys, for stopping by. We really appreciate it. Taste Tuesday. Happy Taste Tuesday, everybody. I really appreciate it. It's been a long week. I'm going to go forward with this I can't say it, Ardnamurchan, and see, where this goes. So far, I'm pretty happy with the peat and the sherry and the ex-bourbon cask involved with this. 83 bottle is a godsend. I love the Balblair 83, and thanks so much for introducing it to me a long time ago, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. That's a good one. Yeah, no doubt about it.
See you guys next Tuesday.
All right, cheers,
Bye for
guys.
now.